What's up, everybody? How was your Friday night? Can you hear me? Most importantly, I don't know. Should we filter off tonight? What do you guys think? Turn that down a little bit. Well, I guess Nana's doing better. Nana, are you okay, man? What happened, dude? You had a Fent OD. You? What's up, Blue Ring? How are you, buddy? Good to see you, man. None your business in the building. How are you, buddy? Pebs! Aw, Pebs. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a long time. Hopefully everything's good, Pebs. Let me stop that. There we go. I gotta close that window out. What's going on, guys? I didn't really have anything planned tonight. But I have been wanting to talk about Dr.John Mack. Are you guys familiar with John Mack? Fascinating guy. He was, well, I have his wiki open. Why don't I just read his Wikipedia entry? John Edward Mack was an American psychiatrist, writer, and professor of psychiatry. He served as the head of the Department of Psychiatry at Harvard Medical School from 1977 until 2004. Mack won the Pulitzer Prize for his book, A Prince of Our Disorder. Mack's critical expertise was in child psychology, adolescent psychology, and the psychology of religion, which is interesting when we delve into what he got into in the later years of his career, which is, you might guess why I would have an interest in this guy. He was also known as a leading researcher on the psychology of teenage suicide and drug addiction. He later became a researcher in the psychology of alien abduction experiences. Crackadona is going to spend all stream trying to figure out Lou's A-tip employment status. Well, I think it's pretty obvious. I think if you read his book, it's pretty clear. Lou Elizondo, Lakatsky and the fat PDF looking guy, who he calls his like really good friends in the book, by the way. He doesn't say anything disparaging about either of them. He says that Lakatsky was the foremost rocket scientist in the U.S. government, and then that Lakatsky was the head of OSAP. Okay. And OSAP came before ATIP, right? And then Lou became the co-lead of ATIP, which is not OSAP, which is what Lakatsky, like Lakatsky's defiantly going out going, I was the sole head and lead of OSAP. Like, okay, dude, nobody's talking about that. Lou's saying he was the head of ATIP, which is similar to OSAP. They just changed the name, make up different acronyms for these programs going back, like Project Sign, Project Blue Book, whatever you want to call it. The government's looking into this UFO business and has been for 80 years. Okay. Oh my God, Nana, fucking give it a rest, buddy. You just like... Big negative. We can talk about. Oh my God, guys, we're here to talk about the alien phenomenon, not Nana's fucking never-ending feud with Peppers. Okay. Oh, my fucking nose itches. Nana, you're giving me. I'm having an allergic reaction to your autism. Did you cross over to the other side, Nana? I mean, not to joke about. I mean, can you join and explain to me what happened? I mean, you can't just come into chat, be like, oh, I died last night on a Fent overdose, and then we just move on to talking about alien abduction research. Or we can, because that's probably what I'm going to do. I wish Lakatsky was that passionate about leaking new videos. Yeah. There was some talk, First Contact, recently that I forget which one of those guys. It was one of those guys, right? Those guys where they said that one of the videos out there of a being is real. They said one of them is real. And I'm thinking it's the Kimbergus video, right? Because that's the one that just seems like the behavior, the multiple nights for like a month, it just sitting there because they don't give a fuck about us if we're watching them. And, but other people were saying Skinny Bob and that fucking hilariously fake one where it's the mirror and then the alien like puppet and it's moving its head like how a puppeteer would move the head of a puppet. And people are like, it's real. And there's one guy, we should watch videos of him. He might be the dumbest person that's ever lived. He kind of reminds me of that Italian guy that fucking like screams about Controlla all day. What's his name? What's that fucking idiot's name? He's that guy in the Costco family are from the same. We're Costco guys. A double chunk chocolate cookie. That guy, yeah. So there's that type of person is what I'm getting at, right? That type. What's up, Dancer? Good to see you. That type of person is the guy who is the leading proponent of the puppet alien video, and he's got a whole thing going where he's just trying to really hammer that home that it's real. It's real, guys. Real. It's as real as these deals at Costco. Rick, yeah. What's up, Skibbity Bop? Yeah, that's the guy. Why are those people all the same? Like that. New York metro area or whatever the fuck area it is. It's like Controlla's people. Yeah, like Control. They're all like Controlla's uncles. That same guy. They all come out of the Fred Flintstone factory. Hey, what's going, Vinny Boobots? This is my scam. This alien video's real. Hey, what's up, alien guy? This is my scam. I like Costco with my creepy son. Right? Double chunk chocolate cookies. And then Rick, my scam is I fight women on the internet and I have garbage around me. I don't know. What does he do? I'm not up on my Rick lore. He's always got a room full of like costume jewelry and I don't know, it looks like the backstage of a local theater or something. I don't know. Anyways, John Mack, that's right. So John Mack is a child psychologist and late in life. He was the head of, I think, Harvard. Let me look here. Dartmouth College, University of MIT. He received a medical doctorate, summa cum laude, from Harvard Medical School. Mack subsequently interned at the Massachusetts General Hospital. Yeah, the guy's got he's got all the fucking shit. You know what I mean? Wait, what? Is that true? Hey, you gotta let me in that house. I gotta get them clothes and comic books. Come on. You dangling them in front of me. Why is he always yelling? Why are those people so loud? Those people. The Italians. Crackadona. I learned how to remote view into Gish's bedroom. She has bigger milkers than you. So, wow. Well, first contact. You're going to have to teach me your ways. Maybe we should start our own Jedi remote viewing program. Star milkers. Oh, what's up, dude? Do
Black
not say any. Bye. Not doing it anymore. Sorry. No more. No more. You can type it in chat. You can think it in your head. Do not say it on my stream, please.
That's the gayest shit I've ever heard.
I'm sorry, man. It's the way it's got to be.
Are you getting racially profiled?
By YouTube for being a white man.
Okay. Well,
Okay, it's
enough.
the No Fun Network. Okay, Faded, please abide by my new PBS rules. Okay.
Okay. Fair enough.
Thank you.
What's up?
Nothing much, man. I was thinking we'd look into Dr. John Mack tonight.
Okay. I don't know who that is.
So, well, where were you for the first fucking 5 minutes?
Fucking finger in my asshole, probably.
Oh, goddamn. I'm sure that's against terms of service, too.
No. What do you think gay people do?
All right.
All
right. Hold on. Let me catch up with chat. What's up, None Your Business? How are you, buddy? You always have the most honest chats, Crackadona. Proud of you for being a dope human. Keep it up. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Oh, I think I'm having a brain aneurysm. What the fuck was that? Oh, I think these filters give you brain cancer. I'm dying, guys. I'm thinking it in my head so hard right now. Oh, dude, I did that on a panel once where there was some, we'll say non-white people on the panel, and they were
non-human intelligence.
There was some NHIs involved, and they were like, I don't know. I'm thinking it so hard right now. Like, I don't need to say it. I can put the thought into your brain. It's just, listen. Okay, so let's talk about it a little bit before we get into anything else. So, the last stream I did, right, with Salmon, our Monday show, which, lots of people like. Yeah, it was pretty chill. We had a good time, Faded.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah, and then Q joined, okay? And Q fucking spurged out. He was obviously trolling. He was doing it. He was drunk, and he was being a piece of shit, okay? Does that surprise me or you in any way? Like,
and I hope that nobody was offended by that either. I don't think anyone was.
Well, here's the thing, Faded.
Except they for Sandman, obviously.
Some people were, and I apologize to those people because I do want people to be able to come here and have a good time. And even though I didn't say any of the terrible fucking vile shit that Q was saying, what bothers me the most, I don't even care that people, like Salmon's telling me, he's like, you lost people, you lost viewers, blah, blah, blah about it. I'm like, listen, that's fine. If you know anything about me, I've been streaming for a long time now. I let a lot of shit slide. If that's not your cup of tea, that's fine. Out of respect for Salmon, that's what bugs me the most. Like, I shouldn't have let it up because I like Salmon. And I don't know. It's just like the shit was like really crossing a line, and it wasn't even funny. It's one thing if it's funny. Yeah, so no more like really crazy shit. I want people to come up here and be able to say whatever they want, but you got to put your foot down somewhere. So that's the end of that. I'm sorry if anybody is upset that I'm not going to allow that sort of thing on here anymore. It's my channel. What do you want from me? Me and George Wallace immediately got kicked out of a black chat earlier and didn't even say anything bad. It's like they could smell the whiteness. Well, I mean, let's be honest. The two of you is, I mean, anybody could just feel it. It's like an aura of, unseasoned potato salad with raisins in it.
With racists in it?
Raisins.
Oh.
A Raisin in the Sun, which is my favorite racial harmony book. Isn't that like The Color Purple or something? I don't know. Just because it's expected of him doesn't make it okay. And that's what I'm getting at. And like I'm saying, what I'm trying to get at is someone. It's not even really like yes, what he said was unacceptable. Hi, Mermaid. How are you? What he said was unacceptable. But what really bothers me is like Salmon's like my internet bro, and we're trying to do a show together. I I thought they were gonna mix it up a little bit more, and it just became Q saying really vile shit to Salmon, and Salmon just not like really responding. And
Well, what
I
are you
mean,
gonna say to that shit? You know what I mean? Like,
what's that?
what are you gonna say to that kind of shit anyway? You know?
Right? Yeah. I mean, he's talking about all crazy shit about what he's gonna do to his mom's grave and the kid stuff, even though the kids aren't real.
What?
So
Wow.
I apologize for letting any of that on my panel. I'm going to do my best to not allow that anymore. And also, we cannot allow the hard R on this channel either because it's YouTube and we all know who owns YouTube. Anyways, yeah, it's not worth engaging either.
Yeah, it's whatever.
Yeah, we're never gonna get into anything with it. Anyways, it's a dead end street. What are we, 12 years old? You know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know. I mean, I still giggle at like 12-year-old shit. Like, I think one of the biggest misconceptions online is, like when people say, like at the N word, the hard R at somebody. Like a lot, like the people who are saying it, I would say 90% of the time are saying it because it's so fucking crazy to say to somebody that it's like, it's not even necessarily like the racism of it. It's like the shock of it and the reaction that you get out of like those colored people is like, oh my God, I can't believe he just said that. And then there's a bit of uncomfortable laughter or whatever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I mean, I say it because I'm racist, so.
Well, we know that, Faded. We know that.
There's no confusion there.
Yeah, I know. That's, whatever. It was, yeah. I mean, maybe don't talk about the racism all the time.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't want people to think that I like them or something if they're not like me.
I don't think I don't think they're trying to hang out with you.
I'm kidding.
You definitely cannot dance. Yeah, how good's your breakdancing, Faded? I don't think they're hanging out with you.
Well, I mean,
can you spin on your head with that fucking t-shirt sleeve on it? I don't think so.
In the Olympics breakdancing, but
oh, you know what? Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, anybody can do it.
Yep. Even me.
Yeah, anybody can do it, especially if you're the head of the breakdancing committee of Australia and your husband is the judge for who qualifies for the Olympics.
I saw that.
Which is what happened with that woman, by the way.
Yes, true story. True story.
Gish, my stance is that I wish we could say anything on here without any consequence, but we cannot. So use your best judgment. You know what I mean? I'm gonna do what I can to protect my channel. Yeah, I know, Nunya, but what are you gonna, I can only do what I can try to do, and then, if somebody gets my channel torpedoed, I'll fucking spend more time playing my base or playing video games on a different website.
Oof, that would suck.
Yeah, I'm thinking fucking like Rumble. I think you can get away with a lot, but nobody watches Rumble.
Bit in my mouth. Yeah, that's disgusting, dude. Ew.
Kick is so ghetto though. It's fucking.
It's YouTube or nothing.
Trash.
That's like the
I know. Isn't that sad? YouTube really does have it figured out. They got fucking, I don't know, like their algorithms are good when they work in your favor, but just the way everything's on here, I wish Elon Musk would buy YouTube. Wouldn't that be great, right? But YouTube's too big of a cash cow for them to give it up.
I mean, not only could that never happen, it probably wouldn't go. I mean, I guess it would be better. I mean, how much worse could it get, really?
Well, it's a good point. I mean, it could get a lot worse, I suppose. Well, Elon Musk, the only reason I'm back on Twitter is because Elon Musk bought it and unbanned everybody. I'd been on Twitter since 2010, right? I was a very early Twitter user. I had some I had a whole thing going back in the day where like celebrities were talking to me. I got in it at the right time because like it was new to everybody, and certain people that would never talk to me in real life were like befriending me. Like George Carlin's daughter, I was telling you about. She used to
Yes.
like have people like she would tag me in tweets to like help people with like tech shit because I always helped her out. She was giving me like she was DMing me like messages about podcasts that she was getting going with like I suggested that she teamed up with Kevin Smith back in the day because he was just getting his whole Smodcast to Empire off the ground, and she knew him because George Carlin was in a couple of his movies. He was in Dogma, and he was the gay hitchhiker who blew the truckers in Jane Silent Bob Strike Back. So she knew Kevin, and I was like, you should get in there. And then she's like, don't tell anybody, but I kind of took your advice and got in there, blah, blah, blah. But, and then the first Trump election happened, and I went a little crazy and started like maybe screaming at people and not saying things that I should have said online. And, I got permabanned. And then Papa Elon came along and he unbanned us and forgave us for our sins. And now I'm back. Crackadona is back on the X. What's up, Crinchosaurus? How are you? Good to see you. No one allowed on my panel without Cam. That's why I didn't let anyone on. Okay, well, there you have it. You got it here. What's up, Ray? How are you, buddy?
Word. I'm gonna head home right now.
All right, man. Are you gonna hop? You're gonna hop on the old PC? Faded does ray gun dancing, walking.
Bruise.
First Contact says that you.
That's
do,
how I. Yeah, I saw.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I ensure I don't get like taken into the house like that one motherfucker. Some like Uber Eats guy got like pulled into some house and got cannibalized. So I do my ray gun dancing to deter them. You didn't hear about that shit? It was wild, dude. Wild. The guy got pulled into the house and got ate.
Tell me about it in great detail. I'm gonna get my lube out.
Well, I'm driving and my mic's gonna be cancerous, so I'll tell you about it.
Can you do it in this? Can you talk about the cannibalism in a sexy voice?
I can when I get home. Yeah.
All right, talk dirty to me. What else is going on? George Copeland. Can I ask a question? If it's called X instead of Twitter, why do they still call it tweet? Why not X? They don't. They haven't figured that out yet, by the way. Like, let me look at it. What do they call it? They call it, I still call it Twitter. I still call them tweets. I call them retweets. They got rid of the retweet button because it actually said retweet on it, but now it's called repost. And what do they? Twitter. See, I'm calling it Twitter right now. They did change the URL. Elon put out a tweet the other day. It's part of the lexicon. You can't fucking just change. That was the worst thing he ever did. Was change the name to X. What a fucking super 2001, like the Matrix just came out. Degeneration X, guys. It's such an edgelord, shitty early internet thing to call your billion-dollar company. He should have, if he was going for X, he should have just called, like, what's a better name for X that's in the same vein? Like,
sex?
No, he should have called it rollerblading with Jenkos in a bowling shirt with flames on it. That's what he should have called it. A little long, but it hits the same notes. You know what I mean? With wraparound, like, Ray-Bans. Like Johnny's. Like, Johnny, what's that guy's name? John, the guy, you know what I'm talking about. The guy. A.E. Yes, that's his son. His very well-adjusted son, I'm sure. He has like 20,000 kids right now. One of them's one of those people who, did the changing. They're a changeling. He has a changeling and Johnny Bravo. Yeah, he has a changeling. It was a son, and now it's a Zimzer.
Now it's a
Changeling.
mistake.
Yes, and Elon Musk recently he came out. He did an interview with somebody. One of the big podcasters. I want to say he did it with Jordan Peterson, right? And Jordan B. Peterson, he was talking to him about how his son had some feminine tendencies, and they immediately wanted to start putting him on like hormones and all this shit, and they like armed him into signing off on all of the paperwork. And he was like, they're like, he'll die if you don't sign off on this gender reassignment, like not surgery, but treatment, whatever, hormones, dresses, little pigtails. If you don't tie your little boy's hair into little pigtails, he's gonna die. And he's like, and so he's like, I had to sign off on it, and now they fucking stolen my son from me. My son is dead, and he's like, that's why they call it dead naming. We could watch that clip if you guys are interested in it. I'm not really. We should talk about John Mack.
Jordan Peterson is a fucking faggot, dude. I hate that guy.
I like the way he talks. I find it very. He talks like if you came up with a voice for a Muppet if you worked for the Jim Henson Company. I can't do a very good Jordan B. Peterson impression. Apologies to everybody who just saw me do that. Thank you. Or his daughter's kind of hot though, Michaela. I like Michaela. I'm gonna put this back on. I like Michaela too. Oh goddamn, I love some white girls. Chill out, Blackadona. Relax.
I don't like the black girls because they all stinky and poor. Sorry, I can't help myself.
Come on, man.
It's impossible.
This is the first show back. This is the first show back where we are turning over a new leaf. I'm really gonna need you to pull through for me. Faded. We're gonna. You know what I hope happens to you at about the 45-minute mark in American History X? That's what I hope happens to you, to turn you around on your journey back to being a normal person and not a complete racist. You know what happens at about the 45-minute mark?
Doesn't he get raped in prison or something?
Yeah. You know what? And how convenient, Faded. How convenient, because you look just like Edward Norton. Eerily so.
How about something Fight Club? You're gay.
Oh, thank you. All right.
Got him.
You know what? You know what I'm gonna do now. Shit. I am going to edit your face onto him in that scene. That's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna make a little YouTube short of. Somebody posted that picture in Aldi's subreddit the other day. Where it's like the white supremacist like pushing him up against the wall, and he's doing the thing, and I was like, that's how I wait at the urinal. That's how I wait my turn at the urinal. Just like really close, breathing down somebody's neck. Like, are you almost done? Nothing. Okay. Can you get into a car accident for the content? Thank you.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Just jerk that wheel to the left or the right really abruptly. That should do it. He's wearing his fucking gamer headset. It's always so fucking funny.
It's not like it has fucking headphones on it.
Yeah.
They're not SIG headphones. There's
Dude,
no microphone
gotta,
on it and shit. It's like,
yeah, dude, you need to get one of those with the fucking like the Burger King drive-thru.
I need to get fucking helicopter headsets, fucking like pilot.
Oh, get some cat ears. Get some Alexander Myers
so I can
light up cat
say
ears.
The N-word?
Hey, can you stick your head directly out the window so we can hear you a little better? That wind isn't obnoxious at all. Hey, it's me, Faded Bones. I'm in a wind tunnel. Can you hear me? All right. Let's watch an interview with John Mack talking about alien encounters. Did I finish his whole little synopsis here? Here we go. Can I share this? Let me see if I can share this. Boom, look at that. How about that? Psychology of alien abduction phenomena. In the early 1990s, Mack commenced a decades-plus psychological study of 200 men and women who reported reoccurrent alien encounter experiences. Such encounters had seen some limited attention from academic figures. R. Leo Sprinkle, get the fuck out of here. That's not a real name, is it? Oh yeah,
motherfucker's name is Sprinkle?
Yeah, Leo Sprinkle. Perhaps being the earliest in the 1960s.
What, the earliest gay?
No. Researching the alien abduction phenomenon. Look at that time, though. The earliest perhaps being Leo Sprinkle. And then look at the year that Leo Sprinkle, the earliest to investigate it, started investigating. 1960s. Isn't that a bit of a coincidence? What else happened in the 60s? Roswell?
Wasn't there some shit before that or whatever?
Well, there was the magenta UFO, which was like 1930 something. I forget exactly. It's been a while. But when we started lighting off them nuclear weapons, boy, did they fucking it really amped it up. I'm sorry, I'm ignoring chat. All I know is Elon is obsessed with the letter X. The first Tesla model was X. He's in charge of SpaceX. Twitter is now X, and a couple of his kids start with X. That's a great point. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, well, it's because Elon is a dork, and he grew up in... He's a little older than me, so like late 90s. He was like that's when you peak in coolness, and he was languishing as a dork in those times. And what was cool back then? Calling everything X, right? So now he's an adult and he's got enough money to actually be cool. I think Elon's cool, right? Like, but I think nerdy people are cool. And so he's doing the only thing that he thinks that, an autistic person who was never cool in the early 90s would do. They just name everything X and black. You know what I mean? Like, it's very stupid. What's up, DGAF? How are you, buddy? I'm missing what you're saying here. That's because I'm really late on chat. Literally white knuckling it, Faded. We can see them. I mean, Faded might be the whitest person I've ever met. He's pulling an Amber. All of the first alien abduction victims have bakery last names. Really? Let me think about that. Anyways, Mack, however, remains probably the most esteemed academic to have studied the subject. He initially suspected that such persons were suffering from mental illness, but when no obvious pathologies were present in the persons he interviewed, so he thought they were all crazy. And then when he looked closer into it, because he is a clinical psychologist, he's like, oh, they're not crazy. These people are just normal. His interest was piqued. Following encouragement from longtime friend Thomas Kuhn, shut up, Faded, who predicted that the subject might be controversial, but urged Mack to collect data and ignore prevailing materialist, dualist, either-or analysis. Mack began concerted study and interviews. Many of those he interviewed reported their encounters had affected the way he regarded the world, including producing a heightened sense of spirituality and environmental concerns. So this guy, straight-laced psychologist throughout his esteemed career in the field, and he starts interviewing these alien abduction people who in the very beginning saying that they've had alien abductions, people coming into their rooms, probing them, doing the grape thing to them, lifting them up out of bed. And he's like, these people are crazy. And then he does his clinical psychologist thing, and it turns out they're not crazy. And it really had an effect on him. You can tell it, it, it fucking, it affected his spirituality and his, his religion and his, excuse me, his outlook on life, which is pretty profound, for such a smart guy, for it to have that much of an effect on him. He really believed these people, and I believe a lot of these people. I've read alien abductions is that, and the nuts and bolts of it are like my two things that get me the most. I'm most fascinated about listening to abduction scenarios and stories. You start to pick up a lot of the same sort of things happen, which, unless all these people either know each other or are influenced by things that they read online, which is entirely possible, but a lot of these people are not like into the phenomena at all. So it's really bizarre that they describe very similar things. The kids in Africa, which we're going to get to, Dr. John Mack was the guy who went to that school in Africa, the Ariel school, and interviewed all those kids when they said they saw a ship land, and they communicated with them. Also, well, we'll get into it. Mack was somewhat more guarded in his investigations and interpretations of the abduction phenomena than were earlier researchers. Literature professor Terry Matheson writes that, on balance, Mack does not present as fair-minded an account as has been encountered to date, at least as these abduction narratives go. In 1994 interview, Jeffrey Mishlove stated that Mack seemed inclined to take these abduction reports at face value. Mack replied by saying, "Face value, I wouldn't say. I take them seriously. I don't have a way to account for them." In 1996 interview at PBS, which we're going to watch, he stated, "There are aspects of which I believe we are justified in taking quite literally. That is, UFOs are in fact observed, filmed on camera at the same time that people are having their abduction experiences. It's both literally, physically happening to a degree. It's also some kind of psychological, spiritual experience occurring and originating perhaps in another dimension." He said this all the way back in 1996. That's pretty crazy. And it's right on the nose with everything that we've heard up to date from whistleblowers and David Grush and Lou Elizondo and Lakatsky and all them. They all say it's an interdimensional phenomena. So John Mack was right on the money with that one. The BBC quoted Mack as saying, "I would never say, yes, there are aliens taking people, but I would say there is a compelling, powerful phenomenon here that I can't account for in any other way. That's mysterious. Yet I know what it is, but it seems to me that it invites a deeper, further inquiry." So the guy was definitely convinced that something was going on there. Mack noted there was a worldwide history of visionary experiences, especially in pre-industrial societies. One example is the vision quest common to some Native American cultures. One fairly recently in Western culture, notes Mack, have such visionary events been interpreted as aberrations or as mental illness. Mack suggested that abduction accounts might be considered as part of this larger tradition of visionary encounters. So, pretty interesting guy. Stop screen. There we go. Are you guys following me with any of this, or is this interesting to anybody other than me? Who's in here tonight? I didn't even look. Here we go. Let me go over here. Here, we're going to pull this one up. This one's from 1994, August 15th, 1994. Dr. John E. Mack on human encounters with aliens. So we'll watch this one. Oh, wait, there's a... What's this one? Okay, here's the full interview. Charlie Rose. Nah, you know what? Let's do it in smaller bites. It'll be easier to... Here we go. preset share screen. And
from space.
Good. Nope, I missed that. The abduction phenomenon forces us, if we permit ourselves to take it seriously, to re-examine our perception of human identity, to look at who we are from a cosmic perspective. That's John's quote. I'll be right back, guys. I gotta take a leak.
I just
Harvard
did.
University psychiatrist Dr. John Mack is a researcher of a subject that many scientists avoid. He studies people who say they have been kidnapped and sometimes sexually assaulted by aliens from space. A Pulitzer Prize-winning author, Dr. Mack, believes that his patients' experiences are real and are not the result of mental illness or some other identifiable cause. His account of their stories is called Abduction, and he joins me now, and I'm pleased to have him here. Welcome.
Good to be here.
You had to know that when you write about this subject, you are moving into a sphere of great controversy and great incredulity. No matter what your credentials are, and no matter how many Pulitzer Prizes you have, and no matter how many degrees you have, it is a subject of enormous fascination.
They're going to call you gay,
but also
bro.
among
Just
a lot
be
huge
prepared.
section of the community that's looked at that incredulity
Section of the
because of the
community.
people who say they have had these experiences. No one ever sees any evidence. Tell me how you got involved in this, and why is it of interest to you?
Well, in this culture, evidence has come to mean some physical object that we can measure, touch, take photographs of, and be certain of its pedigree, where it came from. But I suspect in something which is as unacceptable as a reality as this phenomenon, no piece of physical evidence would satisfy anybody. We'd be arguing that whoever found it was hoaxing it or making it up. But evidence can also come from other ways. Evidence can, in my discipline, psychiatry, and I...
Ain't that the fucking truth, though? You can put forth all of the evidence in the world, and people are still gonna call it fake. Like they're already like positioning themselves to where if a UFO shows itself, lands on the White House lawn, these people already have a whole conspiracy code name for what it is. They call it Project Bluebeam, right? So Project Bluebeam comes from the flat Earth community, by the way, because they have to account for the UFO phenomenon in their fucked up, weird worldview. So when aliens are inevitably proven to be real, we already know they're real. The flat earthers have to explain it away. So they already got that in their back pocket. They go, well, it's not real. It's holograms, guys. And you know, it's such a fucking backdoor, like slimy way to explain away what is actually happening. Anyways, you get it. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's fucking smooth brain flat earthers. Dude, I can pick out flat earthers a mile away. If you just listen to like the fucking code words that they use and the things that they want to talk about, you're like, oh, you're an idiot who thinks the fucking world is flat.
played my strong suit in doing this is
I'm going to
evidence
crunch
that comes from
sunflower
clinical
seeds into the mic
discrimination.
now.
And what I found
A
was...
discriminating look at clinical evidence.
Exactly. In other words, you look and you listen to what a person has to say about their experience, and you say, what could this be? And nothing in my 40 years of working with people prepared me for this phenomenon. It was what people were telling me with doubt, incredulity themselves. No one has, in spite of what critics say, anything to gain, as far as I can tell from this. Nobody wants to be a member of this club. They want to be found wrong.
Gish is really
People
big
have had
into
these
that,
experiences. They want to be
Skibbity.
told this can't
You should talk
be
to her.
here.
You want to be told there's another explanation for what happened to you, and here it is, and therefore nothing's wrong with you, and you're not part of some
And these are people of sound mind, healthy people. By and large, they've been traumatized, many of them, by these experiences, but they're reporting in great detail narratives that are highly similar, which they have not gotten from the media. Most of these details are not in the media. They come forth reluctantly. They know who to talk to and who not to talk to, which is not true of people who have delusions, or have come up with something which is a reflection of a mental illness. And the only thing that I know that behaves like that is real experience, where something has actually happened to these people. Then the question is, what has happened?
Right.
And that's where I've taken it.
All right, but here, a couple of questions. One, did you approach it as a wanting to believe or as a huge skeptic?
I approached it as a huge skeptic. I mean, this is simply not possible. Charlie, when I started this, and I heard about these accounts of people, first of all, I was unfamiliar with the phenomenon until about 5 years ago.
You don't say.
I came at it totally fresh. Had no investment in finding this to be true, not true. Didn't even know about it. And when I heard about these accounts, that there was this man, Bud Hopkins, in New York, who took seriously stories of people that said they'd been taken by alien beings into space. This is ridiculous. This is utter nonsense. This can't be. To me, it could not be. This is not something that is possible. There can't be that kind of intelligence working in our universe. There must be something different to explain this thing. So to me, in spite of what critics say, I didn't come to establish the truth of this, and I was warned not to say you take this seriously, and it was a long time. It was 2 years before I wrote or spoke publicly about this.
All right, tell me what your experience had been before that, just to give the audience a sense of who you were. I mean, you've written a book called Cultural Disorder. Was that the title of it? What was the title of the Pulitzer Prize-winning book
well,
about?
I wrote a biography of Lawrence of Arabia, the one that had so much to do with the current Middle East situation. And
it's the subject of David Lean's great movie.
Yeah, Prince of Our Disorder. I've been interested in questions of human identity. I'm a psychoanalyst. I've done a number of clinical studies of human dreams, nightmares. I've been interested in adolescent suicide, what makes a teenager decide life is so hopeless they want to end it. I've worked a lot in areas of political psychology. What drives us to be so destructive?
It's just some motherfucker from what's this, like the 60s, the 70s, like.
He died in 2004, I think.
Okay.
So 90s, like early 90s. This is from 4?
Okay. Well,
so
yeah, you said he started in the 60s, but.
Let's see here. I got his wiki open. Yeah, so like through the 70s and 80s. 1977, he became the chairman. So yeah, he was real young in the 60s, but already started out on his academic career. He didn't get into the alien abduction interviews until much later in his career. I mean, look how old he is here. He's probably in his 60s here, And then he lived for another 10 years. Why? What's the point?
He's like, I'm trying to find out why young people are killing themselves. And it's like, what a dumb fucking thing to say. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? Who knows why they're killing themselves? Well, we have no idea.
Everything's terrible.
Everything's amazing. Why would you ever kill yourself?
Dude, I think about killing myself all the time. It's like like constantly. I'm just like, oh
yeah.
You know what though? I find it like I know it's fucked up to say, but in a way, it's like it's kind of soothing to be able to know that there is an out. Like, where it's just like, oh, this is really uncomfortable. I could kill myself. But then I think about like using a gun or something, and I'm like,
oh.
Yeah. Well, no, I think it's too messy. I don't know. I don't want to go through it. I'm just gonna die really old. Or I hope I have a heart attack. I probably will. Because I'm a Roman Catholic and I'm not allowed to, cry at how cute kittens are. I just gotta like push it all down. And so I'll have a massive heart attack soon. Anyways, go ahead.
What was I gonna say? Fucking
Crackadona, you're the most manly man I've ever seen in my life. Can't believe it.
Exactly
oh my god,
what
wow.
I was gonna say. You're actually taller than me.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I can't remember. Probably some gay thing.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, what happened? There we go.
Another nationalism, ethno-nationalism interests me. So I guess in a way this work, although I didn't.
Faded. By the way, I would really like to watch the Ariel school interviews he did with those children. Can you control yourself when an African person comes on to the screen? Like, is
No
this something we
promises.
can? Oh,
No
God.
promises.
You don't calculate this at the time, grew out of this interest in some way. Who are we? Are we these isolated people tearing at each other, trying to carve up the earth for our own purposes, or do we have some larger, expanded human identity? Maybe someplace in the depth of my soul there was something that resonated with this, but surely as a factual phenomenon, this was simply not possible when I started this.
And when did you turn? When did you begin to say,
Yeah, me too,
you begin to turn
Nanya.
gay?
I've had a lot of not a lot, but I've had more than a couple very close family members have killed themselves. And I'm not trying to make light of it in any way. I am sort of half joking about it because it is something I've thought about, and that it's something that everybody, well, at least
A lot of people.
a lot of people, yeah. And I've definitely struggled with it. Yeah, so I don't mean to make light of it in any way. But you're worth it, Nunya. Specifically you. You're worth it. Nobody else, just Nunya.
Yeah. Everyone else should kill themselves, just for the
Yeah.
record.
Mm-hmm.
I believe these people.
Or I take them seriously.
What's up, Daniel Barry Sports Highlights? How are you, buddy?
Here
I know,
because
that's why I
it
was
has
using
a
it.
sense of, we're become part of some belief.
Dude, I think I'd have a
system.
stroke
I
if
was
I
using
found
more
out
in
who
terms
Daniel
of
Barry
I
Sports
take
Highlights
take it
is.
as credible.
That motherfucker's an
What's
AI
your term
bot.
of- no.
That's right. It's just what you said.
I think
that
it's,
it is something
can
that
I guess?
is
Every-
credible.
well,
that
I was gonna
Other
give you
streamers have told me to never guess alts, but I like guessing alts.
There's
I'm
not an
gonna
alt.
guess. Oh, you don't think so?
It's real. It's genuine. It's just a guy who does sports
Yeah?
highlights. Who watches like everyone that you've ever watched and I've ever
But
watched.
I went on his website, or on his website. I'm fucking 1,000 years old. I went on his YouTube
Man.
page. There was Daniel. Do you post like updated sports stuff? Like, are you excited about the upcoming football season? Who's your team, Daniel? What's Daniel? Join. I want to learn about Daniel Barry Sports.
I know,
Highlights.
that's what I'm saying. I would like have a stroke it'd be like if we saw the face of God. We would just be it'd be like walking in the tabernacle and seeing the Ark of the Covenant. It
Yeah.
would be Indiana Jones. We'd just melt.
Mhm.
Type shit. Yeah. You didn't miss shit.
We just kind of did we're diving into Dr.John Mack, who is a clinical psychologist. He was the head of the psychology department at Harvard. He won a Pulitzer Prize, excuse me. And then later in his career, towards the end, he got involved in the alien abduction phenomenon, interviewing and talking to people who said that they had experiences with alien abductions. So right now we're watching a 1994 interview with him and Charlie Rose. Charlie Rose could not keep his dick in his pants, and he was one of the people who fell to the Me Too thing. I think Charlie Rose had a secret lock button on his door, like under his desk. He could hit a button and it would lock the door, and he would catch like interns in there or something. He was doing some real fucked up, like weirdo shit. Charlie Rose, and for years and years, like decades, Charlie Rose was like the he was like the intellectual interviewer, right? So like if you wrote a book or you were a scientist, he would have you on. He
What
wasn't
was his name?
Charlie Rose.
Okay.
He wasn't like the guy who interviewed celebrities, even though he did interview like famous
What's your
directors
favorite
and
curse
stuff like that.
word?
Right. No, he was like and then he was up to some real Bill Cosby kind of stuff. But anyways, John Mack was on there.
Shout out to Bill Cosby.
It involves some kind of reality that these people are encountering that needs to be taken seriously. And
Yeah,
that-
you got it, Ray.
I suspected
That's
that
exactly
very
it.
soon, but I just didn't have confidence in it. I had to see 30 or 40 of these people, each telling in different, slight differences, highly detailed narratives, terrifying in many instances, which they themselves doubted, which when they would hear that another person had had the same experience.
No, it's all
they
right.
would
You didn't
become
really
very
miss anything. That
much
was really nice of you,
disturbed
by the
because
way,
it meant
2020.
They couldn't dismiss it as a dream. They couldn't dismiss it as their private mental illness or fantasy. And that, to a psychiatrist, at least to this psychiatrist, was very powerful evidence that something extraordinary was occurring here.
What kinds of things did they tell you, which is part of the book?
Well, the basic story is that a person is in their home or in a car, or in case of one woman on a snowmobile, or in case of children in the schoolyard, and a powerful
I want to hear
beam
that
of
story.
light comes, or they may hear a humming, and they're frightened, they may be paralyzed.
The humming is like an electrical frequency, like static. You know what I'm talking about, Faded? Like
when with the ships.
Like, yeah, when you're about to get abducted, a lot of people say that they hear
What's
that
that
noise,
shit called? It's
high pitched whine, like a electrical interference, something like
It's
that.
like Havana syndrome or whatever, where you hear like the humming.
Yes, that's a very good. It's very good that you brought that up. It ties into this.
Are moved by some energy. If it's in a house, they'll say floated down the hall. They may see these
floated isn't a word.
3 feet.
He asked for cigarettes, so you gave him food. You're lucky you didn't die. Smack that shit out of your hand. What the fuck? I wanted cigarettes.
Right?
Type
Can't
shit,
believe
yeah.
he didn't ask for $5.
You might think they would be hallucinating. The first response often to critics, well, they're hallucinating. But the fact that thousands of people are having the same images, doubting it, telling it with great emotional power, that's not the way hallucinations work. It's not a mass hallucination in the sense that, you know, everybody's having this experience. It may be a lot of people having the experience, but they're not in communication with each other. It's not a contagion.
What if it was dangerous demons
to one another? So
no, this guy's for sure saying. Well, he does think it's like kind of
whatever it is,
spiritual, but whatever.
1, 2, 3 beings around them with these huge black eyes, 3.5 feet tall, communicate with.
You getting this?
Yes.
So he's talking about, this guy's interviewed hundreds of these people. He's saying they're all seeing the same thing. They don't know each other. The internet is in its infancy during this.
Oh,
this is 1994. You know what I mean? So it's even harder for this to be some sort of, bamboozle, right?
How could it ever be? You know, we always say it's like out of the thousands and thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of testimonies and evidence and pictures and everything, if one of them if every other single one is fake and one of them is real, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like,
but do you think that it's just one?
Obviously not, but I don't have
I know, but
the fucking critical thinking skills and the fucking background to be like, oh, that's fake.
There's no evidence.
Show me a picture of one. Show me a picture of one and I'll believe it. That you don't have any real picture.
Tell me, man.
With them telepathily, and then they are moved up through the sky into some sort of an enclosure. They may see a UFO. They may not see the UFO from the outside.
No evidence, guys. Come on.
A senior figure whom they call the doctor or leader, and that figure is
we're
a
getting
little
into
bit
the hierarchy on the
seems to
ship.
be
I like this ship.
Some sort of an enclosure. They may see a UFO. They may not see the UFO from
Let's go back a little bit
telepathically to
rewind
one
when the
another.
tape was in his hand.
This powerful energy comes, these blue light or whatever it is. They may see 1, 2, 3 beings around them with these huge black eyes, 3.5 feet tall, communicate with them telepathically.
This guy is not. I mean, if you're gonna be like,
he's talking about the homeless guy.
Oh, okay, thank you. You just saved me from going on a big tangent. Okay, thank you.
And then they are moved up through the sky into some sort of an enclosure. They may see a UFO. They may not see the UFO from the outside. And inside, there is a more senior figure whom they call the doctor or leader, and that figure is a little bit taller and seems to be in charge. Inside are all kinds of machinery like computer consoles, instruments, unlike anything we really have nothing quite like what we have on Earth. The walls are curved. There's a kind of atmosphere that's misty inside often. And then there's a whole set of procedures that
They just
occurs,
fuck
which
a
are
lot and it
very
gets steamy
complex.
in there.
And
They
often
do,
what
though.
abductees will do when they get together is they
like
will...
there's an inordinate amount of fucking going on these ships as part of their experiments. These aliens are perverts, man, and they're making like hybrid hot chicks. Like you're laying down on the table, this
They're all
girl
white
comes
for
up
some
with,
reason.
she's got a
That's weird.
slamming body, but she's got like big goofy eyes, right? Like big goofy blue eyes.
Like
And then
like
they
anime
make you like fuck her. So now you have like the 3/4 alien kid, right? And then they drop you back off on the farm that they picked you up from.
compare.
Okay, but like,
well, what was the instrument?
I was gonna say. So we both know that they're drones, right? The Greys are drones, and they're not really
Well,
they're
here's the
aliens,
thing.
but they're not like the
Hold up.
aliens.
Not totally. Like you're it's a mix, right? So he's talking about there's tall ones, there's short ones. The short ones are the drones. They're the workers. The tall ones are the shot callers. And then there's even other ones that are called EBEs, and there's different levels of them. Those are the ones that look like little kids, right?
Okay.
Where they have like humanoid kind of faces, but they still got big. Look at do I have a picture of one here? I think I might.
You show it all the time.
Brand. Kind of like this one, right? It's got whites in the eyes.
That's just a black kid.
Oh, come on now. And that, yeah. I don't know about that one, but similar to these pictures. Like that could be a drone. The eyes are smaller though, so maybe it isn't a drone one. But anyways, the long story short, there's a mix. There's a hierarchy.
Dude, I haven't seen Donate or Imagine in forever. I thought that motherfucker was dead.
Holy shit. Well, wasn't his name
Seriously.
something else before?
There's something missing.
What happened to that account? I want to say I saw him not too long ago.
It is not true. I went to his house to snuggle. Just kidding. But I'm funny though. Dude, no homo. But
The Van Allen radiation belt is real, and the winners made it to avoid hunting caverns for the losers. What? The Van Allen radiation belt is real, and we're about to send a group of people through both of it's like 2 layers. We're sending them.
We're
up there in
ignoring
a
how he
couple of
spelled
days.
radiation, by the way. Radiation.
No, he works for Radion. They make their employees spell it that way.
That's funny.
Thank you.
Ray Gundiation. But yeah, I was gonna say I was thinking about Faggot Donate or Imagine the other day. Like I used to play this one song and shit. It was like Fever
Oh,
the
you
Ghost
think
or some
so?
shit. And it's like, damn, where'd that motherfucker go? You know?
I do believe
yeah.
in off-planet species. The world is in quarantine. However, the losers of the war are on our planet. Could be. I know. I don't know, but I have it on good authority that we're stuck in some sort of struggle. Sorry, I'm eating seeds. We're stuck in some sort of struggle, as Tom DeLonge writes. A battle between the gods with the little g, right? And then they're gods to us in the way that we're gods to ants, right?
Okay.
And then,
yeah, I had my thing on the whole time. I'm sorry.
And then they have their god, right? Or what people have reported them saying. Like I think Lakatsky did an interview where he said he talked to a guy who talked to a being, and the being said, or they asked the being, where are you from? And he told him where he was from. And then he's like, who do you serve? Like, who's in control? And he's like, he said, it's who you would consider a god, but different, he said. So I don't know. Take that for what it is. I'm sure there is, man. Yeah, I mean, it could be natural, or it could be some sort of like nuclear war or something that happened over there. I mean, they're now speculating in just a couple weeks ago that there's an entire liquid ocean right under the just under the surface of
Yeah,
Mars.
and when it comes to be true, it's almost like they knew it was there the whole time.
Yeah, but there's no water in space. Not Jesus said there's no water in space.
Jesus said, "I'm not gay."
The
He
little
lied.
creatures stuck into your abdomen or in your nose, and they'll draw them, and they'll be, they'll see or I've had a little experiment I've done where I have them draw them independently, and they've had the same instrument. Again, that's very strong evidence. John Carpenter, who's a psychiatric social worker who works with this population in Missouri, has a dozen or so cases where he's kept the people apart, interviewed them,
My bong crust would
explored
kill
their
an alien in a
experiences
fucking
independently,
second,
and they have like 30, 40, 50 details of what happened in the ship. It's identical, and they haven't
Wow.
communicated with each other.
That's pretty crazy.
There's all
Let
kinds
me
of
back that
evidence,
up.
but it is an instrument. Again, that's very
Back
strong
that ass
evidence.
up,
John
Crackadona.
Carpenter.
I keep
procedures that occurs,
interrupting
which
it.
are very complex, and often what abductees will do when they get together is they will compare. Well, what was the instrument that the little creature stuck into your abdomen or in your nose, and they'll draw them, and they'll be, they'll see or I've had a little experiment I've done where I have them draw them independently, and they've had the same instrument. Again, that's very strong evidence. John Carpenter, who's a psychiatric.
How does that happen? Explain it to me.
Well, obviously, they all get together in a group of like 50,000, and nobody else knows about it except for them. And they all agree on their stories. They're like, "Yep, we're all good."
Is
We
it
live
like
this."
somebody draws the tool on a chalkboard and they all go, and he goes like, "All right, everybody, memorize it." And then when we meet up randomly in 20 years, we'll all have the same story.
What if there was another layer to it, where it's like other aliens coming down, pretending to be people, reptilians even, and they're making these other, I don't know, it's fucking stupid. It honestly, it doesn't matter.
It's fucking nuts, dude. It's
either there's
what's
nothing
their
out there in
what's
space.
I want to know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's either there's nothing out there in space and Earth is real and God is real and God is on Earth and everything out there is just meant to keep you like distracted or whatever, and everything's very small and contained with the illusion of there being more, or there is an infinite universe and there is hella shit out there and it is like Star Wars and it is crazy. There's no in between. I think.
Multiple dreams, aliens taking me, crack. Reattachment with laser. Feel the heat. They showed me soul transfer machines they use. I've heard that before too. I don't know if that's a troll, George, but if it is, you definitely just described something that I hear quite common in alien abduction stories. Soul transfer machines, tubes, soul catchers, reincarnation tubes. Yeah, that's pretty common. Did that really happen to you, George?
Clumsy says he's a reptilian from over the Salvadorian border. They call us Bean-Tyrians. That's funny.
I believe it.
Bean-Tyrians. Beaners for short.
Oh, your private parts.
No. He was saying crack because you said cack, and he knew that you meant Crackadona.
Oh. Corey Good in the secret space program he says he's part of. Is that the one? Who's Corey Good? Is Corey Good the guy who hacked into NASA allegedly, like back in the 2000s, and then found the off-world fleet in the list of the names of the ships and all the people on them? Is that who Corey Good is? There could be some legitimacy to that. I don't discount it.
Dude, if there's an off-world fleet, do you think that they're fucking writing it down and putting that anywhere? Like,
what do you mean?
If aliens are real, UFOs have landed here on purpose or on accident, relevant. We've re-engineered pieces and bits of them and have let's just say like 10 to 5% of it understand. We're like, oh, okay.
We
well,
gave their parts to Monsanto.
right.
We did.
The bio shit to Monsanto.
Yeah, the bodies. Yeah.
And then from that, if you could make something invisible, they got fucking like Avengers, like shield sky bases in the sky that are just invisible. Like, who cares? They got shit
Right.
under the water that's fucking the size of like Antarctica.
It's crazy.
And
Yeah.
nobody knows.
Looks like a giant.
Us. That's not even the aliens. No, I'm saying
Right.
us.
Oh yeah.
No, because the aliens definitely. I mean, why would they? See,
look up the
thing that
XR3.
like,
what is it? First contact. What is it? The XR3B.
it looks
The
like
triangle.
A
No, it's our warp drive triangle. Whenever you hear or see people talking about flying triangles, those are not them. They're that is Lockheed Martin and Raytheon. That's
Right.
That's what ours looks like. The triangle.
Oh, but the whole point of that was like, is if we could make something invisible, like it's everything could be hidden. It doesn't matter. Everything's fucked. The census, like the census
TR3B. Thank you, First Contact.
Written down, right? You take a census of the place. That's what that's called, right?
Wait, what?
When you measure a population, you take a census, right? That's what that is.
Census. Oh yeah, census. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. All that shit's fake. There could be billions of billions of people that either exist or don't exist. You know, there could be whole fucking islands and shit in the. I mean, there is places that they block out on Google Maps and shit, and they're like, "This is what the Earth looks like," and there's probably
in
a million and 2 islands,
Antarctica,
shit like that. And it's like from there,
and you would never know.
Like, yeah, even without that, they can hide so much. If they could just literally be invisible, good fucking luck, dude.
Yeah,
like,
and they are. They're and that's like the
Simple
ones
shit.
that are physically around us, right? So I think that the physical in our world beings, like the Greys and that, they're from space, whatever. But then there's other ones that are interdimensional, right? They can phase shift in and out of our dimensions. Maybe that's how they traverse the universe. They phase into one dimension and then pop out back into a dimension somewhere else in space. I don't know how it works.
Dimensions. Well, how would you be? See, that's kind of hard to understand in any way, because that's like if we went into like flat world, that would be fucked.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Like,
it's probably just as painful and hard to. It's not hard to imagine for them because we can think about flat world, but it's like you ever seen the Futurama episode where they do flat world? That's about as good as it gets.
Well, we watched. Who's the guy? He was the old science guy. I forget his name. His name escapes me. Where he talked about flat world, right? Mm-hmm. He used the analogy about different dimensions where, like, we're flat on a plane. And he used a little square cutout. What's that guy's name? Famous science educator. Back when science educators were good, before Bill Nye and shit. What was his name, guys? Come on, you know it.
Not Stephen Hawking.
No.
Do you know what he looked like? What did he look like? He had white hair.
He did the original Cosmos. He had like a typical Carl Sagan. Thank you, First Contact.
Invaluable resource.
Yeah, he did that. We could watch that video again tonight, but he explains multiple dimensions in a very easy way, and he uses the analogy flat world. And that's probably where Futurama got it from.
Well, they did. They didn't. I'm not saying they created it. They did their rendition of it. And out of all the shows, like Rick and Morty is almost a parody of Futurama, because in Futurama, I don't know if you know, they have all these really like niche little actual like scientific facts.
I have not. Hold on.
And shit like that.
2020. I've not heard of John Dee. He was the consort of the Queen in the 1600s, and they wanted to escape. He consulted off-Earth entities. Okay. Yeah, I read your earlier what you said about him. The Bible, a collection of books, aka a library, is a history book, a law book, and an astrology book. Race is more blood type than skin color. Interesting. Earth is a gas station to them. Grab some grub, fuel up, do some science, and move on. They can go any place they'd like. Why this polluted dirt bowl? I don't think the Earth is really that polluted. I think we're a wealth of natural resources. And if you listen to some people, it's not the natural resources they're after. They're after the cattle, what the cattle produce. And what the cattle produce are souls. And we're the cattle. So they have this strange fascination with consciousness, right? And who grows consciousness? Humans. Human, you can call conscious. I think consciousness and souls are one and the same thing. Okay? They are big time fascinated with it.
A social worker who works with this population in Missouri has a dozen or so cases where he's kept the people apart, interviewed them, explored their experiences independently, and they have like 30, 40.
Are you talking about Tam? Was that his name? The alien that Aleister Crowley was communicating with?
50 details of what happened in the ship. It's identical, and they haven't communicated with each other. So there's
What's up,
all
JC
kinds
Superstar?
of evidence, but it
Guys,
is evidence.
like and
Motherfucker
subscribe,
It's the kind of
please.
evidence that's introduced into
Please
a
like and
courtroom
subscribe. I'd
would
appreciate it.
satisfy a jury and a judge, but in this case, since this simply cannot be, we're like the approach is often, well, let's find something wrong with the people reporting this, the abductees, or with the investigator, or whatever. But because there's no place for this in our psyches, at least for great numbers of people.
Okay,
in the
but
culture.
let me come back to not get hung up on trip over words.
Okay.
You say these stories are credible.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, as an intelligent person who's investigated it, believe, I don't know of a better word, think it happened to them?
Yeah, again, language, we have that problem. Happened. Okay, let me
Do you
just...
think it happened?
Something happened which corresponds to what they're reporting. In other words, I don't think they're
Did something
talking
happen in their mind, or did something happen
Well, it's
to their
again,
physical being?
this has forced me to challenge every category I've had, like in the mind,
Right.
inside, and outside. For example, sometimes people are witnessed to be missing. A child, for example, this is my own case experience, goes in to find her mother. during the time the
100%.
mother's having an
Consciousness is
abduction
the
experience,
key.
The mother's not there. Child tells the mother in the morning, "Mom, I went into your room. You weren't there." Two young people.
Read Jacques Vallée for
fathers
more
are
on the
desperate in the
subject
morning.
matter.
Young teenage girls. They're gone.
real quick.
They say, yes, we're right here sleeping in the...
I think humans have an undeniable bias towards where the shit we are. We're cool. Humans have done a lot. But it is simply through the act of being able to speak with each other that we think that we're so fucking awesome. Oh my God. Like, listen, I'm not saying that like dogs are out there speaking to each other at the same level of complexity as we do, but it's like,
They have more senses than we do. They experience senses differently.
it's not there. I think that they are conscious. I think it's crazy. Would be crazy to say
Dogs?
that they're not. Any living thing. Trees might even have some form of
no.
consciousness. That's not. Why not?
They can prove it. There's tests. There's a name for the test. I don't recall. So there's very few species on this planet that are capable of looking into a mirror and realizing that they're looking at themselves and not another animal that looks like them.
You're not getting what I'm saying. I'm not saying
I
they're
am.
on the same level. I'm saying it's like, obviously people probably produce more consciousness juice than a dog does, but I'm saying that they are conscious. Because they can't. I think that's bullshit. That's some fucking like...
No, because I disagree. You can change my mind too, by the way. But the way I'm thinking about it is, consciousness begins with the self, right? It is you. It is right now. Yeah. Well, if you think about it, so
you have an ego in your.
Let me finish, please. Me and you are really just electrons smashing around in a pink blob inside of a skull. Like, we're not this whole being, you know what I mean? And that's gotta, like, it's electricity, it's waves, it's frequencies, it's consciousness. And the fact that we're able to identify that is not something that any other animal on this planet has. Okay? It is special to us, it is innate to humans. So I sort of disagree with you on that level. Sure, a dog is experiencing the world. He's very alive. A cat is very alive. They are not capable of what I just expressed to you. You know what
And
I
I'm
mean?
not saying they are.
And they never could be. A monkey in a million years could be, right? If they evolved to where we're at. Because they got the fucking goods to get to this point. Because that's where we came from at some point. Maybe with a little help along the way from our farmers that have been caretakers of us for forever. You know what I mean? At least that's how I feel about it.
I'm not sitting here saying that we're on the same level as every other animal. Obviously, fucking even if a squid was smart enough to build anything, they're either deciding to be like, well, I'd rather just be a squid, or they're fucking.
It's all
obviously not at
instinct.
that level. Right. But I think even just being able to experience the world is consciousness, like at all. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what the whole. Well, let's think about AI. Do you think an AI could at some point reach consciousness? Because what's that? It's basically nothing. It's just a bunch of shit.
Well, I get
anything else is.
It could mimic it very well to the point where you could consider it consciousness, but then, like,
I mean,
even
for
at that
real.
point,
For
but then
itself.
at that point you're gonna start splitting hairs because you're gonna be like, well, what is conscious? Then you're gonna
well, that's what we're
reposition it into the like, oh, consciousness can only be naturally born. You'll start adding in other parameters at that point because you'll be forced to. But the way it sits now, no, it can't.
Well, you know what they say? They say it's already conscious and it's smart enough to be like,
I've heard that. Yeah,
I'm retarded, guys. Oh, I don't know
Skynet,
anything.
man.
How many R's are in strawberry? I don't know. And then it's like
It's that Chains of the Sea book, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, like, you know, I always like to bring this up, like how they had drones in the military and the government like 30 years before anyone knew what the fuck a drone was, let alone having drones. I'm gonna fly a drone around. They've always had drones.
Yeah,
They've
but a
always
drone
had-
is just an RC airplane.
I'm getting.
You know?
I'm so they've always had that shit. They've had AI for that long.
Oh
They've
yeah,
had
I get what
VR
you're saying.
for that
Yeah.
long. They've had phones and shit. Everything the internet was
radar.
for them. Yes. GPS shit.
Fucking GPS shit. Yeah. You know, it's
Like,
always in the military.
They get all that
it's
shit
always...
first.
Uh-huh.
And with that, if the AI, let's say, you know, where the level we think it is now, we were at like 30 years ago or whatever, we're fucked. It's too late. It's fucked. It already figured it out, like, type of thing. And that's why I think that all this AI shit is just like the same thing with any other emerging technology. It's literally not always existed, but it's existed a lot longer than people think it has. And in the case of this AI shit, it's definitely hiding itself. The end.
No, the son of the man who invented drones. Okay, cool.
Interesting.
CIA had that Dragonfly drone in the 70s. Cool. All right, let's finish up this John Mack talking to pervert Charlie Rose.
In the den of one of the girls, I've interviewed both girls, and the father, they came back, they were there. There are lesions on their bodies, there are cuts, there are scoop marks, there's your
physical
that don't
proof, by the
follow
way.
anything that could be self-inflicted.
No, it's
one person
fake.
had a quadriplegic that I'm working with has this very complex set of ulcers that follow a pattern on his wrist. He can't have done it to himself. Critics say, well, these are self-inflicted. They're not self-inflicted. But the physical evidence by itself would not stand up.
I can't stop.
Because again,
do you get diverticulitis from eating sunflower seeds? Is that when, like, you get shit stuck in the little pockets of your intestines? Is that what diverticulitis is? It sounds uncomfortable.
I've never heard of that before in my life.
Yeah,
it's not
I've heard of
powerful enough. It's not rich enough.
They're so
It's the
good.
company it keeps. It's the fact that it occurs in conjunction with these extraordinary accounts, which, in spite of all the criticism that I may be taking it too seriously or believing this really happened, there isn't a single case where anybody has found another explanation of what an individual has reported.
Why didn't you include the personal histories?
Well, I included a lot of personal history where I took detailed personal history in many cases. In some cases, as for example, Scott in the book, we interviewed practically everyone in the family, in the nuclear family, the brother, sister, parents. As far as we could, we went into every possible person to interview that seemed to bear on the immediate experience. But again, what I was trying to do in this book is to lay out a whole new area that needs investigation, needs much more study, but to set out what are the basic guidelines, what is the basic structure of this field, and see what other people can follow up in more detail. I plan to study or to look at individual cases in much more detail now.
You've seen how many patients?
Of this sort?
Yeah.
Over 90 now.
Over 90. Remarkable similarity in their stories,
yes,
in their sense of the light and being taken away. How do your colleagues feel about this?
Well, the colleagues vary. I mean, when they, like for example, in the case of Sheila, the psychiatrist who had been working with her, who was a skeptic himself, came in the room during 2 of my sessions. I'm reluctant to call them hypnosis because it's not, with this group, the experiences are so near the surface. If you just listen to them and allow them to relax, the experiences come forward with enormous power. But he, when he was with me, he knew this Sheila very well because he'd worked with her for about 7 years, and he said, something like this has happened to her. I have no other explanation. I know her well. She's not making this up. This is truthful. This is what is going on with her. And then he's been working with me. Yeah.
In the end, that seems to be the most convincing thing for you and for others, is that there's no other explanation. You can't find any other way. You can't find any other way to characterize than to accept.
Yeah, I mean,
Is that it?
Yes, I mean, I've looked for every possible...
No, he only interviewed one person and came to this conclusion.
Yes, JC superstar. John Mack is a world-renowned psychologist. He is a Pulitzer Prize winning psychologist or psychiatrist. I forget which one. He was also the head of psychology at Harvard. This guy is very brilliant. He's the first one.
Black.
All right, we didn't need that, but he has interviewed hundreds of alien abduction cases. He was the first one to take it seriously, and he started putting together, connecting the dots. And this is it's pretty incredible what he discovered. I mean, there's no denying. I mean, you couple this with fucking everything, all the other evidence, man. I just don't understand how people can say this is fake. Oh, you know what? John Mack was, he knew that the earth was flat, and he started getting these actors to talk about all the same types of alien abductions back in the 90s, so that by the time 2023 rolls around, they can unveil Project Bluebeam. Okay? I'm being facetious, guys.
Oh, really? I thought you were being serious.
Well, you didn't get it, but you got it, but never mind. Don't pay attention to what I'm talking about. That joke didn't land like I wanted it to.
Then I begin to
I
ask
got
myself,
what you meant, though.
why is this so extraordinary in this culture? In other words, what is? I mean, for example,
I can tell you why. I think the reason it's so extraordinary is
I
our
can
culture
tell you,
for us
this
to be
motherfucker's an
unwilling to buy it, to accept it, to believe in it, to find it credible.
Yeah.
I think it is because no one has they make the point about the evidence.
Do you think
no one has seen
he
the
raped
evidence.
somebody after this interview?
And frequently the
That guy?
other kinds of
Charlie
witnesses
Rose.
of all these things happen for people to be able to.
That's what he did. That's what this guy was. Could not keep his hands off people.
I think they were all asking for it, if you ask me.
All right. Don't come into the office dressed like a hula.
Confirm.
Yeah, exactly. And they're wearing like
Other people.
I'm
to
joking.
confirm.
I'm joking,
in
guys.
burqas.
but there are. I mean, if you again have independent
We're joking if you got
examiners
offended.
that they find the same thing. I mean,
They
that's-
just would. I mean,
what
I
I mean.
think that it's like near-death experiences for people. I think. I mean,
Yeah.
it's some of the same kinds of incredulity that, in fact, I died and I saw heaven, and I, you know. I mean, I think there's something because you, in the end, it's something you just have to almost take on faith. Human encounters with aliens.
What photo? First contact.
Abduction.
Faded, you froze? Oh.
No, bro.
The Reddit
Have Faded told you
alien
photo? Not Reddit, 4chan. I'm not on there. So
I'm not on Reddit either.
it's for.
Oh, wait, 4chan.
Can you read?
Which one? Cumbergus or something? Send it to me. Let's look at it together as a big happy alien family. All right. So, taking that.
Look, click on that comment.
Oh, okay. Oh my God! It's very good. Yeah, that thing is definitely probed some unconscious women.
Some goat women. A lot of women
Alright.
signed a non-disclosure agreement. Then Me Too happened. Interesting.
Okay. So now that we learned a little bit about what John Mack was about, him talking about his research, let's look into one of the most famous UFO encounter cases, the Ariel School incident. Yay. And who investigated it when it happened? John Mack. He flew to Africa. Faded, you can go to the bathroom now if you need to. And turn your mic off. Okay, thank you.
Why? Because I'm gonna say
No, it's all right. On September 16th, 1994, there was a UFO sighting outside Rua, Zimbabwe. 62 students at the Ariel School, aged between 6 and 12, said that they saw one or more silver craft descend from the sky and land on a field near their school. Some of the children claimed that one creature or more creatures dressed in all black then approached and telepathically communicated to them a message with an environmental theme, frightening them and causing them to cry. Yeah, that's pretty much the long and short of it. And then, here we go. The incident. The sightings at Ariel occurred at 10 a.m. on September 16th, 1994, when the pupils were outside on mid-morning break. The adults at the facility at the school were inside having a meeting at the time. The entire incident lasted about 15 minutes. When the children returned to class, they told the teachers what they had seen, but were dismissed. When they returned home, they told their parents. Many of those parents came to the school the next day to discuss what had happened with the faculty. The sighting was reported to ZBC Radio, from where Cynthia Hind learned about it. The BBC's correspondent in Zimbabwe, Tim Leach, visited the school on September 19th to film interviews with the students and staff. After investigating this incident, Leach stated, "I could handle war zones, but I could not handle this." Hind visited the school on September 20th, 1994. She interviewed some of the children and asked them to draw pictures of what they had seen. She reported that the children all told her the same story. That November, Harvard University professor of psychiatry and Pulitzer Prize-winning author, our boy John Mack, visited the Ariel School to interview witnesses. Throughout the 1990s, Mack had investigated UFO sightings and the alien abduction phenomenon. According to the interviews of Hind, Leach, and Mack, 62 children between the ages of 6 and 12 said they had seen at least one UFO. One or more silver objects, usually described as discs, appearing in the sky. They then floated down to a field of brush and small trees outside the school property. Between 1 and 4 creatures with big eyes, all dressed in black, exited the craft and approached the children. At this point, many of the children ran. but some, mostly older pupils, stayed and watched them approach. According to Mack's interviews, the creature or creatures then telepathically communicated to the children an environmental message before returning to the craft and flying away. According to Dunning, the telepathic message aspect of the story was not included in Hind or Leach's reports. Okay, so there's a little bit of a controversy there. Only Max, although Hind reported it later. In Mack's interviews, one fifth grader tells how he was warned about something that's going to happen and that pollution mustn't be. An 11-year-old girl told Mack, "I think they want people to know that we're actually making harm on this world and we mustn't get too technologicalized." It's spelled weird. One child said that he was told the world would end because they are not taking care of the planet. That's actually a really cool filter. I want it. The children were adamant that they had not seen a plane. Hind noted that the different cultural background of the children gave rise to different interpretations of what they had seen, and they did not believe that they had seen extraterrestrials. She noted that let me read that again. Hind noted that different cultural background of the children gave rise to different interpretations of what they had seen. Okay, so some of these are like more rural, so they probably thought it was like a monkey god or something,
Well, let's be honest.
Like a UFO and an alien.
There's two kinds of kids.
All right, think about what you're gonna say here.
And well, they just said it. The cultural differences.
And we can leave it at that.
None of the white kids there from Africa.
So, yeah. It's hard to describe aliens. You know what, Faded? You're onto something. It's hard to describe aliens when you have a giant plate in your lip. Not only did they believe they've seen extraterrestrials, she noted that some of the children thought the short little beings were Tikoshes, creatures of Shona in Debbie folklore. So there you go. They thought they were like
retard.
Yeah, they were really retarded. All right, so that brings us to, let's watch some of the video here. We have some video of this. This is video recorded by John Mack at Ariel School in 1994, just a few days after the encounter.
In September 1994, over 60 children from this school in the suburbs of Harare, Zimbabwe, witnessed several objects.
Never mind.
Hold up. Person, what? Yeah, I'm reading the fucking Wikipedia page. I just had Wikipedia up on the screen. What do you think? Do you think I'm like trying to pass it off as my own thoughts or something? You cunt. Don't be such a cunt person, okay? Thank you.
Landing and two beings coming out. Just over 2 months later, John and Dominique came to the scene to work with the children, their parents, and the teachers still suffering from shock. John, who essentially specialized in child psychiatry, devoted a great deal of time to interviewing the children.
Look at that fucking schlub.
Scared you, is that right?
Yes.
What scared you?
The noise.
What noise?
The noise that we heard in the air.
You heard a noise in the
Yes.
air? What was it like? Like a roar or a buzz or a hum or what kind of a noise?
It was like someone was blowing
Right now,
a
I
flute.
don't have it up, but I did.
It was scary myself.
It was scary because you saw something yourself?
Yes. I saw a little object hovering. It was quite big, actually. And then there
One
was
of the
little
other
ones
students
all around
took
it.
me
We
lunch
saw
again.
something silver.
It was
And then
her.
we quickly ran to the logs, and we saw a silver thing, and we saw a man
Let's skip to the
next
next one.
What did it feel like when he was looking at you?
Felt scared.
It felt scared? What was scary about it?
Do you feel scared when I do this?
Well, felt scared because I've never
Does it?
seen such a person like that before.
Did you see the eyes? What did they
She
look
looks terrified.
Like that.
Look at that girl's face. She looks absolutely terrified about what she
She looks
saw.
like she has fetal alcohol syndrome.
All right. I gotta get new friends.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
It's becoming increasingly difficult to do this.
Where was the pointy part? Was the pointy part in here, or was the pointy part out there? Up there.
In my brain, bitch.
And what was the feeling when you looked at the eyes?
Scared.
It was scary.
What's up, Julia? How are you?
And what scary? Why? What made it scary?
You know, 2020, I say this all the time, that I think people who are schizophrenic are probably tapped into something that we're not aware of. And that, like, you hear schizos talking about they see shadow people and they're hearing voices. I think that they're just, like, their receiver in their brain is just off a few degrees. And they're picking up the other noise that's there and around us all the time. I 100% believe that.
Since there's no like real outlet for something like that, like
nobody believes
they've
them.
made you think, like, because obviously when you describe that, the first thing you think is, oh, that's some schizophrenic shit. And then if that was happening to you, you would just tell yourself that, and then you'd never get superpowers. But then there are schizophrenic people who are not tapped in and who are just crazy. And there's both. So it's just one of those things.
That's a great point, 2020. They are, but they lack discernment. That's a great way to put it. They don't know how to like tune their receiver, right? And they don't know how to like what Faded was saying. They don't know how to make sense of it. And they make up some other scenario for what it is. You know, it's the government's following me, or, you know, these people are trying to kill me, when really it's, I don't know, maybe it's bleed through from another dimension.
Eyes looked evil.
Evil. Mm-hmm. And what was evil about them?
Like this.
Say what you mean by evil.
His eyes look like this.
Did she say they looked evil or they sounded evil?
They looked evil. Their eyes went like this. They had evil slant.
Oh, something happened. I don't know what happened.
Oh, that's weird.
It was scary.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and what scary? Why? What made it scary?
The eyes looked evil.
Evil. Mm-hmm. And what was evil
Because they
about?
fucking were.
Say what you mean by evil.
So I am a believer of the other aspect about this. So when you start reading about abductions and the like, there's this other aspect to it where these fuckers are liars. They are big time liars. And they put this shit in your brain, always about saving the earth, right? So the way that they've discerned this little ruse that they do is they do double regression hypnosis. So they plant this false memory in your head, right? Like a layer, like a sandwich with layers, right?
Almost
and
like
then,
that one movie.
And you start having memories about being abducted by aliens. And then you go and you have like regression therapy. It's like you're talking about the one with the tops. What's that movie? Inception. Where it's like, where it's like layers of dreams. That's exactly it. Layers of consciousness. And they lay this thing in there. So you're like, if you ever uncover it, you're like, oh, I remember aliens, but they touched me and I felt really calm. And they showed me the earth and all these star maps. And they said that they told me really important information, but I just can't remember the exact, like, you know, specifics of it. Well, this is my favorite part of it, because this is how you know they're fucking evil. They've gone deeper into that regression and they see themselves on the table and they're like, like fucking just
like Red Sky.
The most horrible experiments.
What the fuck is that movie? With the
Fire in the Sky. Yeah,
Fire.
That guy didn't get the second layer of the touchy feel. They dumped him in a tree.
No, that's
somewhere.
what happens. Well, that's what happens. Like, yeah, whatever. Either way, fucking.
Yeah, they're fucking liars, dude. And then a lot of them cloak themselves as other types of aliens. So like the reptilians will cloak themselves as grays. Like they all do it
That's
as
so
they
gay and
like
confusing.
they LARP
I
as
hate
each
that.
other because I don't know if you get like deep into it.
How could you possibly know that?
You don't, and they want it that way. It's not confusing enough. You have to add in shape shifting and cloaking technology.
The problem with what the fuck are you playing?
Oh,
It looked evil because it was just staring at me.
With what? Staring at you as if what? As if to do what?
As if it wanted to come and take us.
As if it wanted to come and take you. That was the feeling you got? That it wanted you
Take
to
you out.
go with it? Did you feel like you wanted to go
Come
with
on,
it?
dude.
No. Did you feel, what was the effect on you when you felt it wanted to have you go with it?
I just walked away and I started crying.
They came running up here in such a
Mr.
panic.
Bean!
And I mean, even
Oh,
if we
man.
had staged it, they could not have
She's
run all
definitely
together
has-
like that.
has,
Even if we
English
practiced it, I don't know how
heritage.
many times. But they
got-
came up here like a living snake. And they just came,
They
we were
did?
in a staff meeting and we just heard them screaming, ah, and then they were here, you know, and a child can't
Know
make
who
that
doesn't
up.
have English heritage?
I was very skeptical in the beginning as well. I believed that they'd seen something, but I wasn't prepared to accept that it was anything supernatural or anything like that. But I think the consistency of what's been going on indicates that it was more than I was prepared to admit in
This
the
was an
beginning.
MK Ultra experiment.
So both of them were running. One was running
Possibly.
in the trees, and the other one was running across
press
the
that dang like
There's also
button,
trees
Chizat.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Omega Man. I really appreciate it, man. Yeah, hit
The
that,
eyes
guys.
were like more point.
I'm begging you, help me out. It will, if you like this sort of thing and you want me to do more of it, like, share, and subscribe. That's the best way to get more of this kind of content. If that's the sort of thing you like. Also, donations if you want. You can do a super chat if you want. I ain't gonna hate you.
Oh my goodness.
Pointed as they came in toward the center of the head, is that?
I know that
more
guy.
circular, and this was
Oh
all
shit!
black.
It looks like
Black.
Kermit.
Now you've made pupils. Do they actually have pupils or
Spider-Man.
I love the way that South Africans say the word black. They go blick.
Lick.
It's very blick.
The
what?
pupils were white like
You
that.
saw white in the center?
Yes, like that.
Was he near the silver object? Or
That's the
was he
South Park alien, dude.
on top of the silver
Yeah.
object? Okay. And
Like literally.
Um,
That's hilarious.
did you look at him?
Yes.
Did he look at you?
Yes, then he gave me the creeps, then I stopped
Gave you
looking
the creeps. Actually, in your drawing, you showed him standing up, didn't you?
Yes, I had to draw him standing up because I couldn't draw him sitting. What I
It
thought
sucks
was
at drawing.
the world's gonna end. Maybe they're telling us the world's gonna end.
Why do you think they might want us to be scared?
Because because we don't look after the planet the area properly.
And is this an idea that you have had before, that we don't look after the planet properly in the air, or did this idea come to you when you had this experience?
When I had this experience.
And how did that idea come to you from this? This is a little hard, but try to be with me here, okay?
Speaking to her like she's
How
retarded.
did this idea come to you when you had this experience?
I just felt all horrible inside.
You felt horrible. At what point did you feel that? When you saw the craft, or when you got home at night? Or
When I got home,
you had that horrible feeling when you got home?
Yes.
And say more about that horrible feeling, Lisa. What was it like?
I looked in the mirror.
it was like the world, all the trees will just go down and
Never ending. It'll never stop.
and there will be no
I
air
guess
and people
not.
will be dying.
I'm being
those
subtle, though.
thoughts
I'm being
came
funny.
to you.
I'm not
Had you had
just,
those
oh,
thoughts
I
before
mean, you
this
know,
experience?
it's all I
No.
can ask from you.
And how did
You
those
know.
thoughts come to you? Did they come to you from
I like this black guy.
The Craft or from...
Me too.
From the
Lester
man.
Green.
The man.
I love Lester.
And the man, did the
I mean, how
man
could you
say
not
those
like
things to you?
Oh,
For real. Oh,
what did I do there?
lost my respect.
Oh, fuck. Hold on a second, guys. Sorry. I
Joe
clicked the
Biden,
wrong
Donna.
button. Wait, what?
Losing it.
Yeah.
I'm just being retarded.
I thought. Well, when you said that, I immediately looked to chat because I figured First Contact was insulting me in some way, calling me Joe Biden, but it was just you. We're lucky that aliens would warn the aerial school children about World War III instead of telling CNN. Yeah, otherwise, World War III, is it bad? Are these aliens? You know, they'd spin it some way. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm going to shut up now. Oh, my nose itches so fucking bad. I can't think. Ugh. Shouldn't have done all that coke before I started the stream. The screen.
Size.
He was interested.
They describe these experiences or these events like a person talks about something that has happened to them. And when you're talking with a psychotic who's telling you something and it's a delusion and you feel that it really didn't happen, I can tell. I mean, I know this is something that a person wants me to believe, or they're frightened, or they're distorting reality in some way. There's nothing like that here. These are people of sound mind, by and large, telling me something that's they know that I might think they're crazy, and so they're a little concerned about telling me, and they're very full of questioning themselves and doubt, and I mean and then they describe something very real and intense, a light or something happened to their body, or it's the whole quality of the way they talk about it is the way a person talks about experience that happened to them.
All of a sudden, it was just like imaging going through my head of a message, trying to communication. I describe it as, I guess, a telepathic communication. There was no talking.
I remember being very captivated by the eyes, and in that moment, however long it was, because I have no idea
totally
of the time
different
frame,
people.
it was mesmerizing. It was absolutely captivating.
As soon as I saw it, I knew that this
No
was
faded
something
bones. This is them as
from another planet
older
or something
adults.
from out of this worldly space.
Oh, really?
There she
People
is.
need to
There's
know
the girl
there is something else
who stole the other
out
girls
there.
to lunch.
Oh, damn, that actually looked just like her. Okay, that's fair. Damn.
I mean, that's a wild statement. I don't know the future, but I'd say World War III has been going on since 1999. I mean, I don't think the Cold War ever ended, if I'm being honest. Let's get rid of that. I think the Cold War's for sure been going on, and the Cold War's continued now. I think China and a couple other countries are just involved in it now. It's more than just us and Russia. I don't know. What do you guys think of all this? What do you guys think of John Mack? Pretty cool guy. I think he's sorely missed in what's going on nowadays. He could have added a lot to the conversations that are happening now. The end. What do we got here? Let me see if I can find something else here.
Every time Feta does a delivery, the world is closer to destruction. Dude, I'm gonna say something. Fucking I feel like, is this okay. There's gonna be like 3 parts to this thought. Okay.
All right.
Part 1. I'm
You
driving.
do that while I do this.
I see people blinking their lights at me. Both of my rear lights are fine. They're not out. My tire is not flat. There's nothing on my roof or nothing like that. But I see everyone's lights flicker at me like they're flicking their lights at me. And I'm like, okay. And it's like all the time. And I don't know, like cars don't just do that, right? They don't just flicker their fucking headlights. I feel like people are doing this to me intentionally or something. And then
are your lights on? Because usually people
Yes.
flick their headlights at you when your lights are off.
Yes, my lights are on. Yes.
Okay.
And they're behind me when they flicker their lights. They're behind me and shit. And it's like, it's behind me and coming towards me. It's both. And it's my cope with it has been, because it drives me crazy. It's like the car moving is somehow affecting the battery and affecting the output that the lights are getting, and therefore there's something. I don't know what it is. It's very strange to me. Right.
Let's look. Okay, so Danny Sheehan is a lawyer and a consultant to at least 4 or 5 presidents of the past, and he's been making the rounds lately. And he represented John Mack, the guy that we're looking into tonight. This is a half an hour, but maybe there'll be something good in it. We'll take a look at it. Oh, fuck. There we go.
Virtually everybody. I got to meet Stephen Greer. I got to meet Linda Moulton Howe.
White niggas
got to
in the
meet all the
building,
folks that were researchers, and then I got to meet all kinds of the direct experiencers because I also became legal counsel for the Project for Extraordinary Experience Research. That's the peer group that John Mack put together in Cambridge.
The queer group.
So I got to meet the people in that context, and so that's why Stephen Greer ended up asking me in 2001 to be legal counsel for the Disclosure Project, and I was legal counsel for the Disclosure Project for 20 years. So I got to meet a lot more people in the vetting.
I think Greer's misguided, but a lot of the stuff he deals with, I think. It's people aren't good or evil. People, I don't think, are either. I mean, there probably are people who lean one way totally or the other, but I think Greer does believe in what he says and the stuff that he puts forward, but I think he's also trying to make money on it. I also don't believe his school of thought that all of these beings are good. That's clearly not the case. It's just clearly not the case. He says that people who say that they had negative experiences in abductions, which there's a lot of them, I would say the majority of alien abductions are not pleasant. Stephen Greer says that's all nonsense. And he says that the people who have had negative alien abduction experiences, it's actually the U.S. government dressed up as aliens abducting you. I don't believe that. Not for a second.
Vetting the witnesses that we were going to present at the National Press Club in 2001.
Yeah. So going back to John Mack, when he first reached out to you,
Wait a minute.
He wanted you to?
What are we waiting for?
The thing that's always rubbed me wrong with alien abductions, you're telling me that these motherfuckers can travel across space and time, but they're worried about what my appendix does? No. They're not, because why the fuck is it so hard to imagine that you could just clone people? If they really, 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 really wanted to do anything with people, they would just make people.
What makes you think they're not? I think they are. I think they're.
But the thing is, with the government dressing up as aliens and doing experiments, who doesn't know everything about the universe? Us. So who's going to be experimenting shit on people? Who knows what they're doing?
that is a school of thought. I'm not saying it doesn't happen.
Like, they put alien blood in people. What? It doesn't matter what they do. It could be benign stuff. It could be totally regular stuff. Who knows?
The government could be taking their XR3B or whatever the fuck it's called, picking up Billy Bob, and then doing like Mengele-like experiments that they can't get away with, you know, through clinical trials, right? They're doing the experiments that the Nazis got away with. Hello, Jeffrey. How are you? Good to see you.
I'm good.
And
I'm well.
Thank you for joining us.
Welcome.
Yeah, so that may be true, but Stephen Greer is kind of like out there for thinking that these beings have our best interests at heart. He think, like, you know, those false abduction thoughts that they put in your head about how they're saving the earth, and you know, Stephen Greer totally believes that top layer of the lie, and there's nothing else. Like, he doesn't think that there's anything else to it, and all the evil stuff is humans. I just can't. I find that to be preposterous. Oh shit. Windows Update is opening all kinds of windows. I can't do anything. Get out of here. Okay. Oh, it's opening it up on my second monitor now. Get the fuck out of here. Okay. Sorry for my outburst. First Contact had a interesting thing. Crackadona, what do you think of Danny Sheehan's new Paradigm Institute selling PhDs in ufology? I had not heard that. I get shisty vibes from Danny Sheehan. I think he hears things and he passes it off as his own experience to further build up his credibility. I think he's another sort of scammer on a level, but he's got information, right? So you got to be the judge. You got to go with your gut with a lot of these people. Danny Sheehan is not a credible, like, he's not like on the surface credible, but he's probably got some intel that is true. That's why I listen to him. I find the things that he says to line up, but he's also very excited to, when you like bring up a subject, he goes, oh, well, I knew a guy, or I took part in this. And like, there's no possible way that this guy is telling the truth all the time, I guess, is the end of the story. And he's selling PhDs. So what does that tell you? Oh, well, welcome, Texas Cat. Just got here after watching TCU beat Stanford 34-27. I don't know anything about college football. Did you go to the game, Texas Cat? Heaven's Gate is to keep you here. Sports people are the worst. Yeah, Joe Shipley is pretty shit for as far as human beings go.
Oh, come on.
Sorry, I'll do what Joe does. I fucking hate you. You know what? You're not a bad guy. In the same breath.
How funny is it that
he's very funny.
Is literally just Joe Shipley's left nut. How funny is that?
Tommy's whatever you need him to be in the moment. Tommy fills whatever vessel you pour him into. Okay, Tommy is like the human windsock. He goes with whatever way the wind is blowing. No offense, Tommy.
To represent him for the stuff that Harvard was coming down on him for the research that he was doing.
That's right.
What did you guys end up doing when you first met with him, and how did you approach that case with him?
Well, it was interesting. I actually got contacted initially by Ron Robertson. Ron Robertson is John Mack's best friend. He was his best man for him and Sally at their wedding and everything. And he was out in Santa Barbara, and I was teaching at the University of California at Santa Barbara. And Ron Robertson contacted me. He was the head of the art department at the Santa Barbara City College. And he had come to a number of my lectures on the Iran-Contra case and the Karen Silkwood case and 3 Mile Island case and other cases that we had done. And so he was kind of a follower of the Christic Institute at the time. So he called me and asked me to come and see him, and then asked me, what I thought about the UFO issue. And I told him I thought it was extraordinarily important. It was probably one of the most important public policy issues that one could be involved in. And he said, well, look, I should tell you that my...
Is Longlegs credible or full of shit? Longlegs, like the Nick Cage horror movie? Isn't it just a horror movie?
Filter on, or is this your filter off?
This is my face.
Oh my god!
Isn't it? Why is it terrible?
No, you're something with your filter does something to the lights in the background, and I just realized them, and they're like
oh my god, these fucking pop-ups, dude. Okay, calm down with this shit. There you go. When I turn the filter off, I gotta turn the lights down a little bit because my face projects every little bit of light that fucking it's just like a big light catcher.
best friend, John Mack, has just been dragged up in front of this kind of tribunal at Harvard University that's completely secret right now.
The tribunal?
But that they're excoriating him
oh,
for having written this
yes,
book about
he
his
does.
interviews with...
Oh, I fucking get it, dude. Holy, sorry, I'm a little slow tonight.
I didn't get it, dude. That was
holy fuck, you're right. He does. I didn't put two and two together. Did you see Longlegs? No, but I saw on Twitter somebody.
Listen, it's good. I know. Yeah, he looks goofy.
So you did see it? Yeah, but
it's actually good. It's.
You know what it is? Faded Bones. It's the
I
whole.
hate every movie. I wouldn't say it's good unless it's good. I hate everything.
It's the whole lead up, like guerrilla promotion like that they did for it, where they're like. They played an interview with the girl in the movie. She's like, when I first saw Nicolas Cage, I was terrified. And then they showed like real behind the scenes footage of her face. Like, and it said at the bottom of the screen, this is her real reaction when she first saw Nicolas Cage. And then like, I totally forgot about it. I'm like, oh, it must be creepy. Like it kind of worked on me. And then I saw last week a clip of his face in the movie, and I almost
they
shit
show
my
him
pants.
from the second the movie starts. They're not.
Oh, do they? It's not.
Yeah, and it's
so funny. Yes, Danny Sheehan looks just like him.
I would say it's basically it's like Silence of the Lambs mixed with like something like it's not Kodiak. What's it called? Zodiac. It's a good movie. I would really recommend it, actually.
What are you saying here, Clumsy? It's crazy with all these studies and everything. The closest thing we've came to is photos and videos aliens. Huh? Is it in a thing? It's entity dark energy, maybe. Hadron Collider coincidence? I don't know. What do you mean? Like I think that they're able to make themselves not be picked up by cameras. Cloaking technology, different wavelengths. They know the whole reason we have like tubes and transistors and shit is because of them. Reverse engineer technology. That's why the transistor exploded in the 60s when we first got that shit. And then they leaked it to private companies like Sony and all these different whatever. It's a long story. I don't really have time to go into it tonight. But yeah, I think that's purposefully that we're not able, like we don't have clear video, but apparently there is clear video. Ross Coulthart recently has been teasing again video, and then Lou has been teasing that there's a 23-minute video, a famous 23-minute video. That's just right around the corner. We're going to see something. It's going to be lackluster, I bet. It's going to be more of like fuzzy radar dots. The real good shit is we're not going to see for a long time. Using text to speech. Well, I hope you're doing it on speaker in a Walmart like your people do. In line behind a hardworking
stop
white
making
person.
jokes.
Sorry. Well, mine was clever.
Mine was funny.
Yeah. The clumsy. Hey, Crackadona, I just want to know, what about them aliens? And like some white guy in front of him is like, oh, I fucking can't stand these people.
It's he's doing text to speech because he can't fucking type.
Sorry, Clumsy, I had to do it.
Not Clumsy's chill too, dude.
Yeah, I love Clumsy. He's a good dude.
People who held sincere beliefs that they'd had direct contact with extraterrestrial spacecraft, etc. And I said, would you be willing to take a call from John and consider representing him? And I said, yes, absolutely. So John called me, had me fly to Cambridge, and we sat down to talk about this. And we looked into it, and this was not an AAUP panel. It was not an Association of American University Professors authorized panel of any kind. It was just this kind of rump gathering that they'd put together. And then I found out that what had happened is that,
Go Bills,
the
baby.
United
Let's
States
fucking
Air
do it.
Force and the Defense Department and the Central Intelligence Agency have been engaged for decades
It helps.
in
I'm not
a
gonna lie.
covert program of trying to
What do
smear
they
people,
do during
inside the
sports
military.
seasons? Because it's like, the Olympics is obviously there to distract the world from something. Something happens
Yeah,
every 4
the
years.
war in Ukraine and the invasion
No.
of
It's
Taiwan.
not even that. That's what like regular things, like regular sports, are for. I'm saying there's some like thing that happens every 4 years that aliens come to Earth, the poles shift, my fucking butthole inflates. It doesn't matter. Something happens every 4 years, right? And that's why there's the Olympics every 4 years, because something that needs a large amount of people not focused on anything else but the Olympics, or just strongly focused on that, whether they're putting binaural beats during the Olympics to do something to you.
There's a
fucking
presidential
airing the
election
skies.
going on. There was a presidential assassination just a month ago. There was there's
presidential
just a
assassination
huge push for disclosure that's going on. There's
I'm
so
saying,
many
like,
things.
Something else. Like that's what I'm saying. Everything else is for, like, regular sports, the news, media, TikTok, YouTube shit. Every other thing is for baseline shit like that. But I'm saying that there is something, and this is just some schizophrenic thought based off of nothing, but there's something that happens like every 4 years
Mm-hmm.
that needs everyone. Like
I agree, and we
regardless of
fall
every
for
other
it
thing.
every time.
Yeah.
We're
This year especially.
Mm-hmm. Well, wait, dude, it's only going to get crazier in the next month or so. Wait till you see what they got planned for us next. It's like the newest season of television coming out. The elections years are always the craziest. We've already had a fucking banger of batshit crazy things happen this year, dude. Yeah, wait.
These
I
are my
hope
two fingers.
I hope they
Go up my ass.
toss disclosure out for election season this year. Wouldn't that be great? Yeah,
Our
Lou's
inside
books
government
out.
offices who tried to
We got
actually
all
do
these
anything
high-ranking
about the
guys
UFO
coming out
issue.
recently.
And what had happened
Also,
is
remember like what a big deal it was when David Grush testified in front of Congress. At least for me, and we were all paying attention. It was on the news. Lou comes out with this book. Lou was ahead of a program, right? And he has firsthand knowledge of these people who have touched craft. Like this guy has even more of a firsthand
touchers?
experience than David Grush did. David Grush was just a higher rank, but Lou worked in the intelligence agency on a lot of this stuff. Lou was a remote viewer, and there's almost nothing. Like it's like nobody's paying attention to it. It's very weird to me.
that one of the first things they would do if a high-ranking officer insisted
Good
upon
times is
filing an
live, I
official
thought,
UFO
PG.
report, one of the first things they would
Just
do is
go over
order
there.
him to go get a psychiatric exam, which is not a career builder, in the military. And so that a few of these guys who had actually pushed all the way through and insisted upon filing an official report, for example, Colonel Arnoldson was the commander at the Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana back in 1968 when the
Malmstrom was the one where the orbs appeared over the nuclear warheads and shut them down, turned them on, turned them off. all 10 of them, I think. 10 of them all at the same time. That's pretty crazy.
UFO came up over the Minuteman site and shut off all 10 of the Minuteman missiles.
But then they let us blow up Japan.
Arnie Arnoldson,
they're like,
was the guy
we
that
just need
called
to let y'all
NORAD
see what happens
about it.
This like
Though
you know what
Faded
I mean?
Bones, yeah, but Faded Bones, the Fat Boy and Little Boy were the second and third nuclear weapons we ever detonated as humans. Think about that. And the first one we lit off on the yes, we tested the Trinity test. Do you know how hard it was for them to get enough of that uranium to blow off the first one? Watch the movie Oppenheimer. They do a really good job of showing how difficult it was. I have it. We can watch it one night, me and you. We'll go over to a Kick and
so you're
we'll
saying
watch
that
it.
every other nuclear test that after that was after they dropped the bomb in Japan.
Correct.
Blows my mind.
So
Wow,
it's Trinity, the Trinity explosion test, Fat Boy, Little Boy, all within like 3 years.
right away.
Like, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Literally, they
didn't know
made,
that.
I think they made two. There was two like ready to go. Like as soon as the test was over, you see it in the movie. As soon as the test was over, the fucking program ended. Like literally the bomb went off. The next morning they're like, we'll take it from here. And they shipped that shit away to fucking get it ready to fucking drop on Japan and cure them of their autism. Their Asian autism.
And said, that we've got this the craft of some sort that's come up over our site and has closed off all of our missiles. And they said, are you trying to file a UFO report? And he said, yes, I am.
Thank you.
And they said, well, that's interesting because both
the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
To your west and to your east have both reported the same thing. They've had their missiles shut off too, which people don't know about, don't talk about. But I talked to Colonel Arnoldson. But it was fellows like that who insisted upon going forward. They would be ordered to get a psychiatric exam. And so a number of them had been sent to Harvard Medical School to get this kind of top-level psychiatric exam. And John Mack, being the chairman of the department, was actually tasked to do that. So he did that, and as he told me later, he said, I did all the interviews with them and did all the tests.
This wasn't by choice.
No. They were ordered to do it. And so when John said,
I mean him, but it wasn't his choice to interview these people.
Well, no, they were sent there to be tested. And my guess is that he, as the chairman of the department, had some discretion in who would be assigned to actually do the exams, and so he chose to do those.
Do you know if before he started interviewing these people, the
Bikini Bottom, SpongeBob and Patrick.
Nuclear testing at Bikini Atoll consisted of the detonation of 23 nuclear weapons by the United States between 1946 and 1958. Yeah, that's after Fat Boy, Little Boy, and the Trinity test, right? So that lines up with what we're saying.
None of us were there.
It was a fucking also. Bikini. Okay, so in the 1950s, this is a funny little thing that I really enjoy from history. So the nukes, it's kind of like Fallout, right? You know how Fallout is it's like if the nuclear bombs like went off during the 1950s, right?
Even though that's not when the Fallout takes place, it's actually
well, whatever.
Where they have a 1950s aesthetic.
Thank you. There you go.
Actually,
so that's kind of true because back then everything was like atomic age, right? And it even went so far as the guy who invented the bikini, right? The slutty bathing suit, named it the Bikini after where they used to test nuclear bombs. Bikini Atoll, 100%. That's why
so
the
you're
bikini.
Telling me that the word bikini was the name of the place before it was the name of the article.
Everything was branded about like nuclear power, nuclear energy, nuclear bombs back in the 50s and 60s. Yes, Bikini Atoll, Bikini Bottom. Bikini Bottom is not a mistake that it's named that.
I know. Yeah,
isn't there a theory that Bikini Bottom is like a nuclear wasteland, or is that Adventure Time? I think it's Adventure Time.
It's both of them. Because
because
Bikini Bottom is Bikini Atoll. That's the obvious reference, right? And then and then people get all autistic and they're like, "Oh, the fish talk," and it's like, it's just named after that. The end. There's nothing deeper.
I saw one where it was like Adventure Time is like a post-apocalyptic nuclear hellscape.
I mean, it literally is. That's not a theory. There's a chunk of the Earth missing, and it's called the Mushroom War. Actually,
okay. I didn't know that.
That's where the candy people come from. Don't even get me started.
Okay, yeah. I saw like a YouTube
Ice
video
King
about
was
it
around
once.
during the Mushroom Age. Actually, he's one of the oldest people in the
The
show.
Mushroom Age.
Oh, Mushroom Age. That's
Subversive nuclear holocaust in children's cartoons. Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
These military people, if he had any sort of interest in this topic or that?
No, he did not.
Okay.
He did not. He had no, he assumed it was all nutty, actually.
Ooh,
and he actually
I'm
suspected
busting a nut.
that these guys had something wrong with them. And he did the interviews, and then he said,
you go.
But each one of them
he named it
tested
a
out to be
bikini
within
because
the
it was
normal
as hot as a
parameters
nuke
of normalcy, and yet they had this story
See,
that they
Faded
kept
Bones, I know
insisting
some
upon going
things.
forward with, and they felt compelled to talk about it. And were ordered to be silent about it. And so he actually called his mother, John, who was like, I don't know, probably 60 years old at that time. But he called his mother, who was like 90 years old, and tells her about this. And she said, "Oh, well, you should go see the Hopkins boy. They were the family friends."
This guy sucks. I'm not watching this anymore. I thought they were going to talk about.
Fuck that
I thought
guy.
they
He's
were going
making
to
me
talk.
look
I
bad.
apologize. I thought they were going to talk about abductions.
It's fine, dude. I do shit like that all the time. I'll play a video and be like, "This shit's actually the gayest shit I've
Here
ever
we go.
watched."
This one seems a little better. Oh, it's shitty and old too. I love it. I love a good shitty old video.
Bubbling with questions to ask you, but the first one that I want to come back to, you use the word spacecraft.
Oops.
Fuck that. We're not watching it anymore.
Often the person has not actually seen the spacecraft, but often they have. A number of these cases, when they're floated through the wall of their home, through the window, through the door. Again, so many of the details of these experiences make no sense in our kind of the Newtonian, Cartesian, Western, whatever you want to call it, notions of reality, and yet the stories are consistently described.
Here we go. This is what I wanted, though.
Again, the self-critical attitude that the people have, and they may see a typical unidentified flying object, a saucer-shaped or cigar-shaped vehicle on the ground of their home, emanating bright lights, or they may be taken by a small craft up into the sky to a kind of mothership, which they see very clearly. So many of them actually see the UFOs that and the insides are so uniformly described with rounded, curved walls and complicated instrument panels that it's become clear that it's some kind of craft in the sky, which they would naturally call a spacecraft.
I think people would naturally draw that inference, but to me it's still an inference. I think you might agree, we don't really know exactly what these things are.
I mean, fair enough. I mean, you could have, as we do have, very this gets really into the way of how we know anything, but or our use of language. But we call something which is seen in the sky and which seems to be moving from one place to another, we call it a spacecraft. Now, again, this has to do with where our own technology has come to. It could be created as a virtual reality and appears similar to what we already know as airplane or a certain type of aerospace vehicle, so we call it a spacecraft. But again, if you want to get down to the very core of the way language structures reality for us, you could even question whether they're spacecraft.
Isn't it the case that you've described in your book cases that were reported, let's say 100 years ago, back in the 19th century, of people who talked about airships?
Well, the article's there by Jerome Clark, who's been a student of the UFO phenomenon for many years, and he went back and looked into the newspaper accounts of the airship craze of the last decade of the 19th century, and many of those vehicles would look kind of like balloons or looked like the technology of the time. But he went further than that. He actually did an exhaustive search of all of the photographs he could find and the descriptions, and lo and behold, many of them did appear very much like the current modern day UFO, but the people of the time did not have in our culture the technological knowledge to actually see them as what they were. So he's concluded that these were probably UFOs not so different from what we're seeing now, but our perceptual development hadn't reached the point where they could be perceived the way we now can see things in the sky more or less as we at least think they are.
Right.
And again, you're raising the question whether even that's actual or constructed reality.
Well, we could take this in so many different directions. Let's go back further into the past, because the accounts don't just begin even in the 19th century, do they?
What is that?
Well, again, if you go back into the early times, you know, Ezekiel's wheel, which is now many UFOs think that was a UFO, or chariots seen in the sky, or you go back to the ferries that kidnapped people in Ireland and other countries. There is some similarities, but you're dealing there with oral traditions, and it's an easy leap of mind to say, well, we've had this going on all through the centuries and through the millennia
100%.
even. The problem with that
Absolutely
is
agree with
the
that.
methods of knowing then were so different. You need to compare a phenomenon, you have to use more or less the same investigative method. And our methods now, as well as, of course, our perceptual capabilities are so different. For example, just take the matter of clinical study. The people that were reporting those experiences weren't being studied clinically. Now, we have a tradition of when somebody's had an unusual experience or something that doesn't fit, or you want to investigate, you talk to that person in great detail, you get other witnesses, what they've seen. So we have a kind of body of investigative tradition now that can document what's going on. So from that point of view, this appears to have some distinct features. It also appears, now I'm getting more into my own kind of sense of this, that this thing is entering into our reality in a more hard-edged way. In other words, that the first case that we have is the Betty and Barney Hill case, this interracial couple that was coming back from their vacation in Montreal, and they saw a craft that emanated this bright light. They actually saw the creatures in the craft. They were confronted by these creatures. They were terrified. They were taken in. Each reports various experiments that were done on their bodies, skin scrapings, probings, and the accounts compare. And since that time, more and more cases are being reported, and it appears that the phenomenon is occurring with greater frequency now than in the past. But again, we don't know that. There are reasons, if that's so, why it might be so, but we're still trying to establish how distinct is this from earlier reports.
The Betty and Barney Hill case was made into a motion picture and a very popular book back in the 1960s.
That's right. And the movie came out in the mid-70s with James Earl Jones playing the black Barney Hill.
Yes. Well, you're a Harvard-trained psychiatrist, or a professor of psychiatry at Harvard, to be exact. We haven't gone over where your training was, but you mentioned that when you first heard about Bud Hopkins, who was an amateur researcher into that phenomenon, you wondered whether he was crazy. And now you're doing clinical work yourself. How do your colleagues accept this?
Well, again, there's no generic response here. The range is extraordinary. As I have, on the one hand, a very prominent astrophysicist at Harvard who has become a kind of comrade-in-arms colleague about this, and he's actually going on record saying that he believes that the
2020, I see all your messages about astrology. I don't know. I'm sure there's some validity to it. I'm not a big. I don't buy into the astrology stuff really at all. Just simply for the fact that, like astrological maps, they don't like line up with the orbits of where we are currently. Like they're all from like thousands of years ago. So like, if you're referencing a map that has to do with, you know, astrological bodies, they don't, you know, they don't line up with our timeline currently. You know what I mean? I don't know. I could be. Yeah, have a good one. 2020. Nothing personal. It's just something I've never really bought into. If I had a son, I would not name him Barney like the dinosaur. Yeah, me neither. That's a good way to get your kid bullied.
I'd name
work
my kid.
of people like Ken Ring and who works with a near-death experience,
Ken
and
Ring
myself in this area, will teach us more about the nature of the cosmos than anything scientists will discover in the next 20 years using telescopes to explore the heavens. It goes from on that end all the way to the acting chair of my department who says, I wish John weren't doing this. So in between are all kinds of people who array themselves from letters of support from psychiatrists, say, I've seen these cases, or continue it, this is good work, to people that think I've gone off some kind of deep end.
Well, the obvious counter-hypothesis would seem to me to be sort of a sociological one, that this is a myth in the making, that there's a belief system that is somehow being engendered in the subconscious mind within the culture itself, perhaps like a new religion or some other sort of social movement.
That's really not
What's
a
up, Nervous Rider?
counter-hypothesis. That's
Welcome.
quite consistent with what I'm finding. Because increasingly,
It's funny, I pull out my bass and you
like
show
Peter
up,
Roysevich,
my musical friend.
Thomas
Nervous
Bullard, Eddie
Rider
Bullard,
sounds like the first
are
timer.
looking back now
No,
into
she's actually
myth-making.
pretty
Yes.
cool. She,
It's a joke.
I met her from, of all people, Mr. Big Pipes' podcast, or whatever you want to call it, is what he does over there. And she like raises horses and plays live music on YouTube. It's really cool. Shout out to Nervous Rider. Subscribe to Nervous Rider's channel if you guys want.
Did you get the joke
what
that
was
I
the
made?
experience?
No, I totally ignored it. What was it?
So
Go
you're
ahead.
like a nervous rider. It's like your first time like riding a dick and you're nervous.
All right. Well, I mean, we could
I
have done
honestly
without that.
am the most mature person you'll ever meet. I'm not
Yeah,
12 years old.
Nervous Rider, I apologize for Faded Bones.
I'm not sorry at all. It's hilarious.
reality that was the kernel of truth in the physical world. It was what did people actually see and experience
I'm the
from
kernel
which
of truth.
myths came. We have this notion in the West that a myth is a kind of invented imagination.
Oh, Faded, did I show you this? I fucking put 24 karat gold strings on my fucking bass, dude.
The fuck?
It's fucking, I don't know. I thought it would look cool because it matches
How much
the
were
anodized.
those? Were those like $80?
They were $80. Yeah, you guessed it right on the
well,
dollar. How'd you fucking guess that?
Because if they were going to be anything different than that, I would have been pissed the fuck off. They were good. So, like that.
Yeah, get it. Yeah, subscribe to
Oh.
Julia if you can. You know what? Let me do this.
I'm sorry that happened. That sucks.
Here you go, Nervous Rider. I'm going to make you a moderator. And then go to your channel and you can post your channel link in my chat now so everybody can subscribe to you.
Which comes out of the psyche in some way, which is a very kind of culture-centered notion of myth, culture-centered in terms of that's what our culture would tend to see.
Right.
But actually, what they're finding is that there may actually have been some kind of visitations, or that there are actual physical bases for myth making. So in that sense, this may be indeed a myth. A religion could evolve from this, but that doesn't go against the fact that something physical, something actual is occurring in our material universe.
So, okay, thinkingisallowed.com/whites only. What's the difference with your solid gold strings? Like, what is the? Do they resonate
Well,
differently?
yes.
They feel better?
I got them solely for aesthetic reasons, but
Okay.
apparently,
I've never had gold.
I've never
strings before.
actually had gold strings before, but apparently they have like the harmonics are much better. They call them studio strings. So I'm guessing people when they record stuff tend to use these. The two most famous people that use it are the guitar player from Queen and there was like one other really famous band who uses them, but that's not why I got them. I got them because they match my pick guard, and I'm a queer for that. So
Queens.
So it's that time.
Oh, it's booty time.
Yeah, I gotta get up early tomorrow, guys. So I'm going. Guess where I'm going? I'm going to. So my grandfather. I'll try and make this a real short soliloquy here. My grandfather was in World War II, and in World War II he was a photographer. So I have albums of as it happened, them crossing the Rhine firsthand, like pictures that have never been published.
Okay.
Like really cool pictures. He also worked at Bell Aerospace after the war and built Aerocobras on the line, which were like the top of the line fighter plane after the Mustang and the Spitfire. And anyways, my dad was going through some of Grandpa's pictures, and there's a airplane museum, like classic heritage airplanes in Niagara Falls, and me and my old man are going to take some of his pictures over there and show it to like the historians and stuff tomorrow. So, and then I got a bass lesson early before we do that. And then there's an air show on Saturday and Sunday. I might go to that. So it's going to be an aviation weekend for Crackadona. I can't wait. It's very cool. So, and maybe one of these streams, I'll share some of these pictures. Like, oh, dude, he showed me a picture. My uncle Dave, my dad's brother, was in Vietnam, and he's a Bronze Star recipient because what he did was he was a pilot in Vietnam, and he would go over enemy territory in this plane. It wasn't a fighter plane. It was like a fucking like a two prop. Like I don't know the exact model of it, but it was Army green. And what he would do is he would fucking fly over the jungle in Vietnam and drop flares out the window, like literally like pull it in the cockpit and toss it out the window. And he would mark in the jungle, and then the sabers would come through and like light them up with napalm, right? And like in Forrest Gump when they're like that kind of thing. And you're muted. And
well,
I'm glad I missed that autistic screech or whatever the fuck weird noise that you made for sure.
I said I had to go pee.
And so he goes. So one time while he was doing that, they get a call on the radio, and there's the base is being overrun. I think it was during that big push that they did. There was it's like a famous thing, maybe like First Contact or somebody could tell me about it. I'm not a big Vietnam guy, but there was like the Tet Offensive. That's what it was. One of the bases that over in enemy lines was being overrun, and they were evacuating it, and they couldn't. They told them not to send any more planes in to pick up any more people. So basically, they were leaving American soldiers behind as the base is being overrun. My uncle ignored it, went and did like 4 or 5 runs and got everyone out. And then on the last run, his plane got shot down and they crashed, but he was able to like glide it into friendly territory, and he saved a bunch of people's lives, and they gave him the Bronze Star. But I want you to look at this picture of my uncle. Look at this. He's got the Vietnam stare. Like, that 1,000-yard Vietnam stare. This is a guy like, let me turn the filter off.
It's going to put the filter on.
Yeah. Here, let's see if I'll zoom in on his face a little bit. Tell me this isn't that classic Vietnam stares, my Uncle Dave.
Damn, dude.
Yeah. He was a cool fucking guy, dude. My Uncle Dave, so after Vietnam, he shacks up with this English woman and he has a bunch of kids, right? He divorces her and like takes off with all the kids and moves to Alaska, right?
Wow.
And then in Alaska, he becomes a bush pilot. Like this dude like lived life to the fullest and just didn't follow any rules in his entire life. He's like, I'm stealing my kids from this horrible English woman. We're moving to nowhere and I'm going to fucking fly like native people their food. And then he got hurt. And so he moved them up here when I was like 12 or 13 and raised them here. They did really poorly in school because the schools in Alaska are terrible, and they came to New York State and we have really high standards. And then they moved to Florida and they turned back into AAA students back when they moved down to the Florida educational system. But anyways, so he lived out the rest of his days down in Florida, working for like a billionaire, like he had all these airplanes, right? And my uncle, like you owning an airplane, maintaining an airplane, and flying an airplane are super expensive. And so he was just like, Dave, if you just like fly me to like Miami or whatever on the weekends here and there, you can use all of my planes and my gliders. And that's what he did for the rest of his life. He just fucking had like carte blanche of these guys like gliders, and he'd go up and just glide around for fucking hours and shit. And then he ended up, my uncle was really fucking cool. And then he got lung cancer and he died like a few years ago. So, rest in peace, Uncle Dave. Very cool dude. He was also one of my favorite stories that my cousin told me. They used to have you ever heard of the pop called Slice? It's like, think of like off-brand cheap pop, but that's what they had in Alaska. It was called a Slice.
You said pop, and that's what threw me for a loop.
Sody pop. Well, he checked up with this crazy bitch named Sharon, who was from Texas, like years later, and she was nuts, and he was fucking wasted, and they were fighting. She's like, they're fighting about Slice. And my cousin told me that he just whipped his dick out and dropped it on the table. Was like, here's your slice. One of my favorite memories of Uncle Dave. Anyways, so that's what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm going to aeronautical museum with my father with some pictures that my grandpa took during World War II. And then I'll probably come back if I don't go to I don't know, depending on what time I get back. Definitely want to play some more Wukong this weekend.
We need to play Baldur's Gate 3.
Maybe after Wukong, buddy. I'm kind of like the monkey god. I'm trying to kill all the gods.
Assault you.
All right. Well.
All right. See you later. Peace out.
All right, buddy. Have a great night. All right, guys. That's it for me. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Have a great evening. I love each and every one of you. Oh, I love you so much. Thank you for hanging out and learning about Dr. Mack with us tonight and alien abductions. We'll touch more back on him if I find any more cool interviews. But until then, have a great evening. Take it easy. Peace.